Yeah, man. How's everybody doing? This is the apostate prophet. Sup, man? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Yeah. How's everybody doing? Everything okay? Everything all right? Good, wonderful. David, how are you doing?
Good. We're live going through PBD's interview with Tommy Robinson. Post.
What's happening? Man?
Done. Done and
minute,
done.
Minute I go live, I see update assessment Israel, Iran nuke something. Anyway, I don't care right now. Even if they're nuking things, is something happening right now? Why did I just receive an alert? I don't know. Even if they're just nuking something right now, I don't care. We have a live stream to run, so I don't care about nukes. All right, man. How's everybody doing? David, what's up? How are you doing?
Hey, what's up? Oh yeah, I just checked the news to see if anyone's nuking anything. I don't see anything about anyone nuking anything yet. The top article here is about the one survivor in that Air India crash. Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Whole
1 person survived, right?
200 and at least 290 people dead. One survivor with just some scratches. Isn't that crazy?
I only saw that.
That was like the beginning of I don't know if you saw it. What is it? Unbreakable. Unbreakable. He was in a train or something. The whole train crashed. Everyone dies except one guy.
Really?
Yeah, but he was like indestructible.
Wait, what's happening? Breaking, urgent. Israel began striking Iran.
What? Where?
The heck? What's happening, man?
Let's see this. Where are you seeing this breaking news? I see
everywhere on Twitter, many accounts. Israel began striking.
Well, I'm on CNN and Fox, and I'm on CNN and Fox, and there's nothing.
CNN is fake news, and Fox is even more fake news.
You're fake news. Let's see. I will Google it then. I will Google it.
I'm not gonna give you
Israel.
You're fake news. What's happening, man?
This is 6 hours ago, according to the New York Times. 6 hours ago, the New York Times posted that Trump acknowledges Israel could attack Iran soon. Wall Street Journal 3 hours ago said Israeli attack on Iran could come within days, U.S. and Israeli officials say. Washington Post an hour ago says Trump warns Israel could strike Iran. That's all. That's all. So all you've got to go on is Twitter.
Because you're checking legacy news, which wait for
news source on the planet.
Because you're checking legacy news, which what the heck? Well, Elon Musk just commented on Sana Ibrahimi, ex-Muslim from Iran, on her. No, she commented just now, or actually earlier today. Some other guy named Daniel reposted a photo of her and said this. She was on my channel before. She was a guest on my channel. She talked about Iran and Islam and all that. Here, Daniel said Iranian Houthis are rising up. Historic moment. She said, just here to say F hijab and Sharia law altogether. And Elon Musk made a comment on this. What is Elon Musk doing, man? Elon Musk mixing into this conversation now. What's up, Elon?
Funny.
What's up, Elon? Very, very cool. Very cool. Anyway, yeah, I'm still getting flash news in here as we speak. Just checking it out. I don't really know yet. Don't really know what's happening, but we will probably update everybody on that. People will probably know more about it than I do. Israel has closed its airspace. More footage of strikes inside Iran. Breaking explosions in Iran right now. Israel is striking inside Iran. It comes directly from Aviva Klumpas. Aviva is a very reliable source who is directly close to the Israeli government, and who also was speechwriter for Israel at the UN in the past. I met her in Israel. She's fantastic, but she just started sharing the updates.
I finally got a reliable news source.
What's it say?
Nicholas J. Fuentes says Israel is officially attacking Iran. They are trying to drag the United States into yet another one of their wars. Never forget who's responsible. Who's that, Nick?
Israel has closed its airspace, breaking more footage of strikes inside Iran. Let's see.
اینجا رو زدن، اینجا رو هم زدن، این لویزانم زدن، پشتم زدن، پشت لویزانم زدن.
Huh. Well, I don't see any strikes. I only see smoke. Could be anything.
Where there's smoke, there's Jewish strikes.
There's
Where
a
there's smoke, there's Jews.
there's a mushroom, but could just be a mushroom, you know.
Did this breaking from Syrian girl? Did Israel just nuke Iran?
I only see a mushroom, and mushrooms could be used for anything, frankly. So,
Stop eating those mushrooms.
Israel is striking inside Iran. This isn't a choice; it's a necessity. Iran has committed itself to arming Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis, and every front that threatens Israeli lives. It has pushed its nuclear program to the brink and openly vowed to wipe Israel off the map. Say a prayer for the courageous soldiers who are out there in the night, bringing the fight to Iran, so that Israeli families can finally live in peace. I'm not really. I don't really feel like amused and amazed and very happy about a front of war starting, but I also don't know to what extent this is being expanded right now. Maybe Israel is just taking out targets and will just let it pass. Prior to this, what Iran did was to strike Israel, or to try and strike Israel, and do striking back and all that, and say we have fulfilled our promises and reached our goals and have dealt the Zionists a big blow, and it's like one animal died or something like that. So that's usually what happened, and Israel did say for the longest time now that there are many targets inside Iran that need to be taken care of, and that they are going to strike sometime in the future. So not sure if it's happening right now. Not sure to what extent this is happening right now. Normally, the Israeli accounts make updates as soon as it happens. I don't see anything from the IDF yet, or from the Prime Minister's account, or the Foreign Ministry yet. But maybe it will come once the operation is done. That's usually when it happens. What do you think this will entail, David? What's your expert assessment of the situation?
Everyone's going to complain about Jews and Israel even more, even though it's like, what do you expect? You've got a nation, Iran, that regularly gathers tons of people screaming death to Israel, death to Israel, death to Israel, that has its tentacles in all kinds of other terrorist groups that keep attacking Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, all these guys, all funded and controlled by Iran to one extent or another. And they say, hey, we're going to keep coming at you until we wipe you off the map. And oh, by the way, we really, 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 really want some nuclear weapons. How much do you seriously need to put up with these guys? Like how much are you as a nation required to put up with these guys and not completely destroy their ability to destroy you? That's what an attack on a nuclear facilities strike is. It's I'm destroying your ability to destroy us, because it's not like the United States where you could drop 5, 10 nuclear bombs on the U.S. The United States is still going to be here. You can do massive damage, take out some cities and stuff like that, but the United States is still going to be here. Israel, tiny little place, would not take a lot of nuclear activity to completely wreck the entire place. So how much should these guys be required to just endlessly put up with the antics and shenanigans of a terrorist state hell-bent on wiping them out? I don't know. My point is, if I were in charge, I would not be negotiating with Iran. I would say, if I even think that anything in your country even could potentially be used for building nuclear weapons, I'm going to bomb it. That's it. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to bomb the crap out of it. I'm done playing with you guys.
Now, there are lots of people out there, especially people who are easily influenced or possibly paid by certain entities and certain interests, throughout the West who will like the little Mexican gay boy who immediately says, "Oh, now Israel is doing this, and Israel is doing that," who really don't understand what's going on in here in the Middle East and what Iran is all about. But people who actually know about Iran, people who actually know about about how Iran is led, have written about this, and also know further about the problem that we are facing. Here is actually somebody that David knows very well, Raymond Ibrahim, who wrote an article on the Middle East in the Middle East Forum, which is called Mahdism, the apocalyptic ideology behind Iran's nuclear program. I would recommend reading this if you are still somebody who is under the ridiculous illusion that that Iran is no issue at all, and that Iran just wants peace, and that it is like this Western Israeli bloc that is trying to cause war and all of that. This is one article. What the heck happened to David? He just died. I think he just died. Maybe Israel nuked his home. I don't know. This is actually. I would recommend everyone who is still under the delusion that that things are being instigated by Israel to read this, and I would also ask others who are who know of such people to save this and to show it to us. What happened, man? Where'd you go?
I don't know. My download speed is blazing, 620 megabits per second.
Did Israel just nuke David's computer?
My upload is 11, so that should be fine, man. Although that is normally low. It's normally like 300 to 500 or something like that.
Did Israel just nuke David Wood?
You know what's kind of funny, man?
What?
That's like
nuclear war. It's so funny.
that people from the Israeli government follow me on Twitter and stuff. You know, it's like.
We're an important dude, man.
Would make you think that I'm being paid by Israel or something, you know?
Yeah. You got any shekels laying around?
Can't find any. I've been spending them all. So this is an article by Raymond Ibrahim, who in this article assesses the whole situation in Iran and how Iran is actually how Iran's government is very, very much an apocalyptic government that is all about war and bloodshed, and that wants to bring about times that are in which the revolution would be brought to the world, and their Mahdi, their savior, would then come and crush things and make them the superior ones, and would bring justice. And justice in the Iranian worldview is basically that Shia Islam is in charge of the world, and all that. So that the Sunnis would then also be succumbed and submit to Iran, and Iran would be huge and all that. This is actually in Iran's constitution. This is not even just stuff that Iranians say. I would urge people to actually look at the Iranian constitution. The Iranian constitution itself. Wait, I think he must be mentioning that here somewhere. No entity is more wedded to or indoctrinated in Mahdism than Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, which, as described by Iran's 1979 constitution, is an ideological army mandated with an ideological mission of jihad in Allah's way. This is in the constitution of Iran. Jihad, as we know it, is not simply dealing with the struggles of life. It is actually war on behalf of Allah, internal and external. Iran has its agenda to pave the way for the coming of the Mahdi, the Imam of the age here, and to spread the revolution that started in Iran also to the rest of the world. That is literally in their constitution. A Middle East Institute paper from 2022 titled Iran's Revolutionary Guard and the Rising Cult of Mahdism elaborates on the growing importance of eliminating Israel in the context of Iranian Mahdism. The IRGC is increasingly understanding and communicating its official policy of eradicating Israel and Zionism. Eradicating Israel and Zionism. People will tell you that that it's Israel that's somehow instigating war here. It is directly part of Iran's official policies, which they also reiterate every week, every morning. to destroy Israel and to destroy the Zionists. And also, by the way, it's not just the Jews, it's not just the Israelis, to also destroy America. The slogan, death to America, death to Israel, is very, very common and is also officially used by Iranian government members, by the Iranian government. People say it, kids say it when they go to school on Monday mornings. It's so insane, man. Khamenei recently said something about how it's not just a slogan, it's a policy. Oh, here is memory. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, death to America is not just a slogan, it is a policy. The West could not handle anti-Israel and anti-American protests, so they claimed Iran was behind rallies in England. So he claims that he says here, this is very recent actually, 2023, he says death to America is not just a slogan, it is a policy of the Iranian government, of the Iranian regime. And these are the people that some people try to depict as just, people who just want to have peace and we are instigating fights against and all that. No, these people are insane, man. These people are absolutely insane. It's a death cult. Iran is led by a death cult, and they want to get their war.
Why does Islam start so many death cults?
That's what they do. That's what they do, man. That's what Islam do. That's what they do. Jack Ray says, TikTok, time to rock. I will get back to the news updates in a second. Chance Schofield, this guy is the one who wrote the Schofield Bible, I think. David plus Robert Orthodox on time. David plus AP Cathuman late. Maybe this is why it was delayed. AP was late for his baptism. Hey, don't tell anyone, man. That's actually what really happened. Annabelle, report on Channel 12 in Israel. I knew Sneaker was guy, inshallah, Hinuk hijab. Yeah. MT, I rate AP's wig 55 out of 9. Mohammed Aisha's age is not sure if it's the best or worst rating. Celeria, greetings, my friend AP. On your last live, you said that you wanted a human voice work for your ID song, Islamic Dilemma song. So I sent you a second improved performance of it via the site formerly known as Twitter. I will check it out. I'll have a look. Radical Cleric AP, I know. I became a catechumen the same day you were supposed to be baptized. I think we might become Orthodox on the same day. It's an honor. Oh, hi, David. David, hi.
No, because you're going to have to be a catechumen for a year.
Depends on
AP
where
already started. AP got a head start on you.
Depends on where he's a catechumen. Depends on what jurisdiction and what tradition he's a catechumen in. Khamenei endorses death to America, Chance. Anyway, that's what's happening. David, do you want to look at I'm going to keep checking if you see some huge updates or so. Just let me know.
No one cares. We're here to talk about Tommy and his interview with PBD and how Pierce would have made it suck. Totally.
Israeli news say the sirens that sounded across the country were intended to wake the citizens of the country and provide a warning. There have been no launches toward Israel. So apparently Israel issued nationwide sirens as they also fired at Iran. Nice. Ashmites, anyone who takes Iran's side in this is a con-tarded, which is a new term I've coined for the specific use. It is conned and retarded together. Nice. The seal of the prophet said, to think that I was a few hours away from a flight to Rome, my thoughts are with the Iranian people, and I pray that they will liberate themselves. Powerful. Indeed, inshallah, soon. All right, let's talk about Tommy Robinson, man.
Good interview, man. I normally would not sit through 2.5 hours of anything. I mean, what kind of losers post these 2, 3, 4 hour shows on YouTube, right? Not going to watch it. As far as like these long shows, I watch maybe like 3 or 4 of them a year that I actually get all the way through. Other times I'm looking for specific things and so on. I'll watch part of it. But this one actually watched all the way through. I mean, it was over 2 days. I watched it, watched 10 or 15 minutes at a time.
It was 2 days long.
Actually went through the entire thing. And I seriously don't know how any British person could sit through that and still not think that Tommy is the one who's on the right side here. Like, he's got all these people still complaining about it. It's like, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? From the media and from politicians. We'll listen to what media and politicians are doing. Anyway, pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we'll get to it someday.
But the people are retarded.
That's what they say. Let us have a look. PBD podcast. PBD podcast.
You have to see, the most annoying thing about the whole thing was PBD. He kept asking the same question over and over again for like the first 2/3 of, so how is this happening? And then Tommy would spend 20 minutes and but how is this happening?
That's what PBD does, man. He doesn't know much, and I mean, he knows about money. He should just be talking about business. That's it. He shouldn't be talking about any of these things. He doesn't know anything. That's the problem. But the thing is, there are some people who don't know anything and who can actually have good conversations and good interviews. PBD is not one of them. So, unfortunately.
This was not a good conversation. What was good, and to PBD's credit, what he was awesome at here is he just let Tommy keep talking, which is, and here's the thing, when you let Tommy keep talking and explain everything, explain how he got started, what his concerns were and so on, and what happened every step of the way and what's happening right now, when you hear him explain it, it's like, you have to think that the government and the media are just like completely sick and evil and in bed with the jihadis and so on. For votes, not because they're, oh yeah, we want Islam to take over. It's just, we need for our group to be in power, we have to do what these guys say, because we need these votes right here. And because of the political correctness, and we're all scared of being called Islamophobes and so on. But PBD, to his credit, let Tommy keep talking. And again, if you let Tommy actually explain everything, like the evidence is massively one-sided in his favor. That's why when he goes on Pierce will not let him talk for 5 seconds. Pierce ain't gonna let him talk. He's gonna ask a question. So, how's all this happening, Tommy? Well, hang on. What about Israel?
Well, hang on. God, it's freaking annoying.
And the entire thing will be a big shouting match. I think Tommy will win because he's.
Hang on. I'll let you talk. Hang on.
He's actually quicker than Pierce. It's funny. Tommy, even though like they have contempt for him because he's like working class and so on, he is way quicker and, dare I say, smarter. May not be book smarter than a lot of these guys who went to Oxford and stuff like that, but Tommy's pretty sharp, man.
Nice.
And super quick. In fact, I tried speeding it up. I couldn't understand it because he's already going 90 miles an hour.
All right, but hang on a minute.
Hey, Robinson, how you doing, man?
I'm good, thank you.
It's good to finally do this, brother.
Nice to meet you.
And I know, yes, likewise as well. This is the first time we're meeting, and we looked at a lot of different locations to do, but we're in Bahamas right now. So tell me, why Bahamas? Why are we here?
Why here, not America?
Yes.
I was given an invite by 10 members of Congress to visit the United States to give a discussion on free speech in 2019. And when I went to the American Embassy in London, saw out my visa, 45 British MPs had wrote to them to block my entry. 45. That is 4 times as many British MPs who had ever spoke about the national rape scandal that had happened in our country. So our politicians were more interested in preventing my speech in the United States, because giving a warning to the United States, than they were about tackling the rape scandal. But I'm here. I do have a criminal history, which we can get onto.
I do too. What's the problem there?
Back in 2009, I faced a huge onslaught, and I also traveled to the United.
Well, people with criminal history shouldn't talk about anything. So,
hey, it is kind of it is interesting. Tommy can't come to the U.S. right now. I can't come to the U.K.
I wanted to text him to invite him for a conversation, but I feel kind of embarrassed and bad about it, because the last time that I was supposed to do something, which was also the first time with Tommy Robinson, he invited me over to his rally in the UK, and he said
we were going to go, and then we didn't go.
come and I'll have you backstage, and we'll be at the rally. And I guess he wanted me to speak there as well, to say a few words. And I was taking David with me, and we were supposed to go together, and then I had to cancel.
It wasn't just that. We kept like putting off plans because we weren't sure what was going to happen. And then it was like a week ahead of time, or might have been like 4 or 5 days ahead of time. We're like, okay, so what are we going to do? It was like, I don't know. Is this kind of too late? And ticket prices were skyrocketing and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there was also a time where I was really not thrilled about going to London. I'm still not thrilled about going to London. I don't think I will ever be thrilled about going to London.
No, it's a crap hole, man. It's a crap
horrible place, man.
It is the devil's anus. But no, if I had known I was not going to be allowed in the country in 2025, I would have definitely gone. I've been like, oh, this is my last chance to go to the UK. I would have totally gone. But I thought I had many more opportunities, and I figured Tommy would be putting together more of these things and so on, which he is. But I figured, we can always go to the next one, and then you can go to the next one. I cannot go to the next one. Hey, you should definitely go to the one he's got in September, man.
Inshallah. The thing is, I think I'm trying to organize something with my Artusi right now, and if I do that, then I'll probably also do something with Tommy Robinson next month or so. I was supposed to be on my Artusi's channel, but then lots of things got in between. Anyway, so we're working on that. But the thing about London is, and I bet he's going to address this as well. But when I was there, I was kind of in between two thoughts. One of them was, wow, what a nice city. Look at all this, all the beautiful architecture and stuff. On the other hand, it was, what a horrible, horrible, horrible place. What's up with the demographics over here? I'm sorry to say this, but
racist.
It does say a lot about. I mean, London doesn't have to be this way, right? The UK doesn't have to be this way. You see how a city that was built by specific people has been completely turned into a different city, into a city that is completely populated by not those who build it, but those who benefit from it. Among those who benefit from it are lots of people who are now turning it into hell as well. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a pretty bad situation.
United States in 2010. So I traveled there in 2009 for the first time. I started my activism in 2009, where I formed an organization which took to the streets in the UK. This is before the rise of social media. So we took to the streets in the UK because what I'd seen happening in my hometown and the problems I'd seen was the attack on free speech. When I was born in 1982, we had one mosque in Luton. We now have 45. White English are a minority. So I'd witnessed the problems that brings. And then I started an organization to try and highlight the problems that no one was able to speak about, and that the police weren't tackling, the government weren't tackling.
EDL.
From that moment on, I faced, in the first 6 months, I had 3 police raids. And I went to travel to the United States, 2009. I was detained at JFK Airport, and I was told by the Americans who detained me that the British had told them not to let me in. So I was deported. But I went back the next year. And when I went back the next year, I illegally entered the United States.
Legally?
I went back on a friend's passport. And I knew what I was doing was wrong when I went there, but I gave a speech. I got in. I gave a speech at an event in New York, and my speech was called A Warning to America. So when I'd done it, I thought I may end up in trouble in the United States here, but I felt that passionately that America needs to understand the problems that we've faced. I just wish that someone would have come to my country 30 years ago or 40 years ago and said, here's what's going to happen.
That is a sentiment that the West needed, that the UK needed, but the UK never had. There are very few people who still have it and who at least want to do something about it, which is why I respect Tommy Robinson. Now, we might have disagreements over different issues. I don't care. I consider this guy brave and fantastic in what he's doing. I don't care about our disagreements in other ways. He's doing something crucial, doing something that other Europeans have failed to do for so long, which is to speak up, or to at least warn others of the failures of Europeans in the face of Islam and Islamization. Yeah, I respect this a lot about him. Anything you want to say about this, David?
No, I'm agreeing, and I'm thinking when you were saying, you may disagree with Tommy on things and so on. Yeah, over the years I have too. As far as this interview, like what could anyone disagree with in this entire 2.5 hours?
Here's one of the photos from Iran as we speak.
Are those the boobas?
Yeah.
Look,
This seems
someone
like
put some
a
boobas on that building.
this seems like a precision strike, like a very, very specific precision strike into
That
a,
looks like they were trying to take out a person.
yeah. The news that are coming in currently is that Israel is striking multiple Iranian military intelligence and government targets. So it's not like a blanket bombing. It is carrying out precision strikes against IRGC members and all that. Interesting. Hope everything goes well.
And give a warning. So I went to America. I give a speech, and then I flew home. I was detained 6 weeks later by the British police, and I spent 10 months in prison for that. And I only spent 2 days in America.
Here's another one.
I was detained. I spent 22 weeks on solitary confinement
For the speech.
for illegally entering America because I booked 2 flights.
But isn't that a crime for the US, not for the UK?
The US were not interested. I read all the documentation. They didn't care. But what the UK done is remanded me in prison. So from when they arrested me, they put me straight in prison and I wasn't allowed bail. They said I was a flight risk because of the passport incident. So then by the time I got to court, which was 3.5 months later, they said, if you plead not guilty, you're going to sit here for another 6 months to 9 months, waiting trial. If you plead guilty, you've got a chance of getting out. So I pled guilty and they let me out 8 weeks later.
8 weeks later. So it's interesting you're saying this because for me, when I talk to friends or guys about Tommy Robinson, it's a very interesting reaction that we get. In the morning, we're sitting here, literally an hour and a half prior to this. Me and Rob are out there kind of going through, finalizing the notes. And I see this fellow with his wife to our left. He keeps going like this to me.
There's nobody over there, man. Where are you pointing?
Just looking at me. And you can tell he's Middle Eastern, maybe Indian, but I don't know yet. But he's paying attention to what we're talking about. We're watching videos and we're going through a couple things. Then he comes back and he says, hey, I heard you're talking about UK and, what's going on there and Muslims and Sikhs and all this other stuff. I say, yeah, so what do you think about what's going on there? Well, let me tell you what's going on. So what do you think about Tommy Robinson? I says, ooh, Tommy Robinson. I says, yeah, what do you think about it? He says, well, you have to know that. I said, you're at a nice resort. I'm assuming you make money, you're successful. He said, I'm from education. He says, Tommy Robinson, man, he's been arrested. He's been in trouble. He's done this. He's done that. But a lot of my friends who couldn't stand him 20 years ago are now siding with him. I said, really? He says, a lot of people are agreeing with him now. I said, why are they agreeing with him? He says, well, I used to live in London. Now I'm out. I saw what was.
This is the first time that PBD actually said something good. So, yeah, seems like it.
This, for the rest of the entire interview, I was just going to say, but how is this happening? But how is this happening? And then, but how is this happening? And then towards the end, he starts saying how the cell phone is the ultimate enemy of all these people who are trying to control us. Because before that, they could control the information that everyone had access to, and now they don't. People have instant access to information wherever they are, and so they're losing their minds, not being able to control everyone.
Did he mention Andrew Tate in this whole interview?
Yeah, and interestingly, Andrew Tate and Sneeko, but that was Tommy, and Tommy was calling him out, suggesting that they're getting paid by Qatar to be these fake converts because that's all the Qataris care about is getting social media influencers now.
No, nice.
I'm thinking about putting that little part together because that's late. That's way later. And so a lot of people won't see it if they're just watching like an hour of it or something. But I'm thinking about putting a little video together about that because it's interesting. Because Tommy and Andrew go way back. They're both from Luton. They've known each other for a long time.
They knew each other when they was smaller.
Wish I was a little bit smaller.
And Andrew also praised Tommy early on, but Tommy is kind of like he has been like this is the kind of the aspect where I had my concerns about Tommy because he was like trying to assert that Andrew Tate is being that he's being persecuted.
Dude, that's
because of
connected to
and
this
stuff
though.
like
But
that.
go ahead. But that's connected to all
But
this.
then,
Go ahead.
but then he more and more switched toward how Andrew Tate is a grifter, and he's working for an agenda and all that. I'm curious what his most recent stance on all of this is.
I was pointing out that this is all connected, right? Because if you don't know the details, right? If you don't know how much evidence there is against Andrew Tate, if you're Tommy is a guy that the government, if there's something you could call the Matrix, this combination of like these powerful politicians and journalists and stuff who are all working together. So Tommy's been on the receiving end of that for what, 15 years now? Over 15 years they've been coming at him, right? So when Andrew Tate says, "Oh, this is all a plot against me. People are conspiring against me to silence me." Tommy, that's exactly what they've been doing to me. That's exactly what they've been doing to me. So I believe you, because I believe this sort of thing happens, because I know it, because it's been happening to me. Matter of fact, Tommy actually shares the story of the Pano drama, which I think we watched back in the day. I remember covering it. That was years ago. But with the Pano, their show Panorama, and he did Pano drama about how they tried to set him up. They were trying to set him up for sexual stuff. And he actually reversed it and recorded them with their plans and stuff like that and exposed them. And then the guy who was the main face of the BBC's documentary program got fired over being an absolute scumbag in the way he was coming after he was so out of line that the BBC, which has been obsessed with going after Tommy, is like, this guy went too far. We are getting rid of this dude. Anyway, the point is, I can completely understand why someone who's actually been attacked by the government and the media and everyone conspiring to shut him down by any means necessary, by lying, by deception, and so on. What's up?
Finish your thought as soon as possible, or continue after I read this.
What the heck is going on here? How are you going to be covering two stories at once the entire time?
Okay, I'm going to read it. Israel Defense for. Go ahead, finish it.
I'm just saying, it made sense for Tommy to believe Andrew was telling the truth when he wasn't.
Nice. Israel Defense Forces says the IDF launched a preemptive, precise, combined offensive to strike Iran's nuclear program.
What was the shot on that building? Was that like taking out a particular scientist, like their nuclear scientist guy, and just boom?
They probably struck not just nuclear sites, but also personnel. Dozens of IAF jets completed the first stage that included strikes on dozens of military targets, including nuclear targets in different areas of Iran. Today, Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. Weapons of mass destruction in the hands of the Iranian regime are an existential threat to the state of Israel and to the wider world.
Mm-hmm.
The state of Israel has no choice but to fulfill the obligation to act in defense of its citizens.
True.
And will continue to do so everywhere it is required to do so, as we have done in the past.
All this is correct.
IDF launched a preemptive, precise, combined offensive to strike Iran's nuclear program.
What
the
I
thing
would
is, have done. Good, okay. The thing is, it says dozens of IAF jets completed, so Israeli Air Force jets completed the first stage.
Oh, first stage. That implies that there's going to be at least a second stage.
So the current strike is, as it seems, completed, but that current strike is only the first stage.
But notice it says included strikes on dozens of military targets. So you're saying at least 24 military targets were struck.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
At least 24. And this is stage 1, ladies and gentlemen. And what they're going to say, oh, the genocide, they're genociding Iran's nuclear program.
The defense establishment has detected launches toward Israel. Last time, I think Iran tried to do this whole thing where they're trying to have an immediate reaction. Not sure if they're trying to do that right now, because it's not going to end well. It's going to be very, very stupid. And pretty sure that if Israel just started an operation to take out the nuclear strikes, what Israel really would want right now is for Iran to actually try and react. If Iran actually tries to react to this with counter strikes, Israel will go hardcore. And when Iran goes hardcore, Iran accidentally kills a sheep or something. When Israel goes hardcore, we all know what happens. So Iran better sit down and watch. There are more photos here. More photos. They rocked this whole building. They rocked part of this building here. It's kind of cool. What is this? Well, to target Iran's nuclear program, the regime long-range missile capabilities, dozens of military targets across various regions in Iran were struck as part of the opening salvo. These included military command centers. Opening salvo. We have launched Operation Amklavi with the might of a lion to target Iran's nuclear program. Okay, this is the opening salvo. These included military command centers, commanders, military facilities, headquarters, and nuclear sites. Here's your answer, David. These included military command centers, commanders, military facilities, headquarters, and nuclear sites. So commanders could be targeted where they live. The sirens that sounded across Israel were not due to missile fire, but rather to prepare the public for the possibility of incoming attacks. We are preparing for an operation expected to last several days at minimum, including anticipated heavy barrages from the Iranians. Full coordination is taking place with the U.S. military. Our objective is not a regime change in Iran, but rather to neutralize military infrastructure and nuclear sites. The opening strike in Iran was highly surprising in both scope and the locations targeted, places the Iranians did not expect. By the end of the operation, there will be no nuclear threat. Whew. That seems like a...
You see that? That is very ominous. By the end of the
Dude.
operation, there will be no nuclear threat.
They really saved that to the end of the announcement.
That should have been. It's the announcement should have been way shorter. It should have just been we have launched stage 1 of our attack on Iran's nuclear program. By the end of the operation, there will be no nuclear threat. Not now, not ever.
Damn. So Israel is committed at this point to carry out. It says here. So this was the opening. The operation is going to last several days at minimum. When it says several days at minimum, what this means is that they are carrying out a series of precision strikes and other things. And usually several days at minimum would be if there is minimal or no resistance. If there is resistance from Iran, then this could escalate further. And I'm pretty sure that Israel, and they have been preparing this operation for years now. And I'm pretty sure what they're taking into consideration is that if Iran actually tries to respond, then Israel will go to war with Iran.
I don't think Iran wants to go to war, man. I
don't think so either.
I think they want the terrorists and stuff to keep attacking and stuff, but at war, not a good time because Israel would take out half the government and the people would do the rest.
The thing is also, several years ago, Iran actually trusted that Russia would be by their side and would defend them. Now Russia can barely defend themselves, let alone come to the help of Iran. So they don't have Russia on their side. There were talks that China would chime in and all that, but China doesn't seem interested at all in directly interfering in things. So Iran is pretty much standing alone with the so-called axis of resistance, which is crumbled and destroyed. The Syrian government is gone. Hezbollah has been both decapitated and castrated at the same time. Hamas is hiding in bunkers, and the Houthis are doing drugs and banging camels and goats. So
sheep.
There's not much that Iran can actually do right now, except just take it.
Isn't it funny? They think, oh, maybe Russia will come and help us with their vodka, and maybe the Chinese will come and they will use their kung fu against the Jews. The kung fu will stop the Jews.
I'm going to tell you something about Yemen, and it's really, really messed up. I couldn't believe it myself. When I first saw it.
You're Jamaican. It's pronounced Yemen now.
Yemen. So there's something that people need to know about Yemen, which is this here. Khat use in Yemen. Khat use in Yemen. It is estimated that up to 90% of adult males chew khat 3 to 4 hours daily in Yemen. The number for females may be as high as 50% or even higher as young women take up the habit. A recent study for the World Bank estimated that 73% of women in Yemen chew the khat leaf more or less frequently. So this is what they're doing is they're chewing a substance which makes them pretty much psychotic and weird, and they do this every day. They're addicted to it and dependent on it. They depend on it very much. They're very, very, very addicted to it. In fact, you can see this on increased alertness and energy, mood changes, increased heart rate and blood pressure, loss of appetite, gastrointestinal issues.
Similar to coca leaves.
Long-term effects, psychological dependence and addiction, mental health issues. Chronic abuse can result in depression, anxiety, psychosis, and even suicidal thoughts. Sleep problems, cardiovascular problems, liver damage, dental problems, reduced fertility, digestive problems, neurological effects, and so on. Withdrawal, depression, craving, fatigue, irritability, whatever. It is not something that you're supposed to chew. It is a stimulant that makes people in the long term psychotic and hyperactive, angry, aggressive, and so on. And 90% of the adult population chews it 3 to 4 hours daily in Yemen. This is a deeply sick population.
Hey, here's another problem. I'm looking it up right now. The use of khat results in constipation. Reflected increased heart rate, blood pressure. Long-term use can precipitate permanent tooth darkening, a greenish tinge, susceptibility to ulcers, and diminished sex drive.
Look at this photo. Look at this photo.
That guy's got a cheek full of khat. Look, all the dudes, the dude behind him does too. See that?
This man has real problems.
They all have cheeks full of, not they don't have their cheeks full like Muhammad on the night of Al-Zut, but different cheeks.
This post: Israel should also bomb Yemen's khat fields. 90% of Houthis are drug addicts, and removing khat will literally send them all into withdrawal shock. It's a genius plan. You can thank me later, IDF.
No, it's actually correct because they're all addicted to it, right? It's a stimulant, guys. It's a stimulant. Yeah. It's a stimulant. It's like extremely strong coffee. It's a more powerful stimulant. It's not as powerful as cocaine, but it's more powerful than coffee. But you build up a tolerance to it, and so you keep chewing more and more until your cheeks are full of it, like a hamster. And guess what? If you just took that all away, these guys are going to be like, I can't get out of bed. I can't get out of bed.
Breaking missiles reportedly launched from Iran at Israel. Among the targets are senior Iranian regime officials. Nice. The defense establishment has detected launches toward Israel. Israel confirms that they have targeted nuclear facilities inside Iran. Reports of a new wave of jets entering Iraqi airspace soon, Iran, and so on. I don't know, lots of stuff happening right now as we speak. Updates are coming in, but I want to return to Mr. Tommy Robinson.
Psychotic episode can result, resembling a hypomanic state. Huh, interesting. That would be good in battle, man.
Yeah.
But the people.
But yeah, so that's one of Iran's only allies in the region.
Going on in Sheffield. Is it Sheffield? What did he call the Schofield or Sheffield, one of the cities?
Schofield.
There is a city called Sheffield.
Then that's
The Bible.
Actually talk about Schofield.
where he's from. He says Sheffield. He says, you know, when I lived there, it was something else 20 years ago versus what it is today. So we know when we watch you what you're against. People call you racist. People call you Islamophobic. I said, what would you ask him? He says, ask him if he's racist or not. I said, he's been asked that many times, right? So I'd like to know, for a lot of people that maybe don't know your story. I've watched the documentary. I've seen your content over the years. I've seen you back and forth with peers from 10 years ago to now to all the stuff you got going on.
By the way, this is the author of the Schofield Bible. Yeah, this is Michael Scofield. He's the author of the Scofield Bible, and he wrote it all in prison. Yeah.
I see your feud with you and Dan Bilzerian online, and there's a lot of different things that's going on. What are you against? What are you for?
I'm for Britain. I love my country. I want my children to grow up in a safe.
That's racist, man. You can't say I'm for Britain. Why are you racist? What's going on here?
That was extremely racist.
That was very, very racist. This is making me sick, man. You're supposed to be for Islam, not Britain.
And prosperous Britain. And there is no one, like the gentleman you spoke to, if you ask them, is the country going in the right direction? There will be no one that will say yes. And like the saying, we live in a free country. You won't hear anyone say that in Britain anymore. So those people, like the gentleman you spoke to, all I'm guilty of is being a decade ahead. I was so far ahead of everyone else who now sees the problems. And the reason I was so far ahead is, as I said, I was born in Luton Town. I've watched the change. I've seen it firsthand. And when I grew up, you have to understand, Luton is a multicultural town. And if you line up my friends and you took 20 of us, we're all sons of immigrants. My mother was an Irish immigrant. My friends are St. Lucian, Bulgarian, Italian, Jamaican. We're all sons of immigrants. But growing up in that town gives me, so many other communities get blamed for the problem of immigration that we're seeing in the UK. And I take a lot of flack from this from all sides. So David Cameron come out and said multiculturalism's failed when he was the Prime Minister of Great Britain. Angela Merkel said multiculturalism's failed. For me, I think that's weak and it's cowardice, because Islam has failed. Haven't failed. The Jews haven't failed. The Hindus haven't failed. In fact, no other communities have failed to integrate and assimilate into Great Britain. It's worked. And my hometown, and I can only speak by experience, is a perfect example of that. So any journalist...
This is a very, very good point.
That's an extremely good point, ladies and gentlemen.
It is a very, very good point. So in response to the question, are you a racist? The explanation here is very, very, very clear and very simple. There is a stance that you need to take against a certain trend that is happening in Europe, and that stance is not just you could approach this from you could be a coward, or you could be extremely hateful, or whatever it is. You could go into two different directions and make that same mistake. You could either say, no, this is about colors, it's about skin colors, it's about all of them, nobody should be here. That could be like the very hateful perspective, the very anti-immigration perspective. Or you could go into the different direction and say, no, we have to welcome everybody, but multiculturalism has failed and we have to approach it differently. You could go into that direction. So that there are two different ways to go into it. Both are completely horribly mistaken. There's one correct way here. And the correct way is that Islam is the problem. It's not all the other cultures that have failed.
It's not the races. It's not the races.
It's not the races. It's not the skin color. It's not all the cultures that mix into this pot and then poison it and make it all messed up. It is one specific religion, one specific culture that does it. It is Islam. If you don't point at it, if you want to distract with other ridiculous nonsense, you will not fix the problem. We have to address the problem. It is Islam. It's not other cultures. It's not race. What were you going to say about it, David?
Nothing. He's making a very good point there, because that's just something that you heard about Tommy for almost 2 decades now, every time he was brought up. So what is it, 2009 or something like that he started with the English Defense League, and so that's when people started hearing about him. And all along it's been, these are a bunch of white British dudes who want to keep Britain white and stuff. And it's like, when have you heard that from Tommy? That's what people are saying about Tommy. That's what Tommy's enemies and critics are saying about him. When have you heard that from Tommy? Because all he ever says is what he's saying right here. It's Islam is the problem, because it refuses to immigrate, and then it has all these teachings that are about oppressing us and what they can do to little girls and stuff. That's the problem. And every time you hear him speak on this issue, it's don't have a problem with Jews, don't have a problem with Sikhs, don't have a problem with Hindus. Why? They all get along. They have no problem getting along with everyone around them. There's one group that can't get along, and that's the group that's the problem. Like, again, how is anything he's saying different from what like Douglas Murray is saying. We've pointed this out before. He's saying the same thing that people like Douglas Murray is saying, but they just declare war on. They just declare war on this one guy because he's working class, and you're not allowed. If a working, keep in mind, if you're in America, this is a weird idea to us. There are certain areas where we would respect an expert's view on something, but if it's just, hey, what's going on in society, we don't trust some scholar more than we trust a regular person who's experiencing it. In the UK, it's just understood. If you're working class, you shut up. You shut up when the educated people are speaking. You shut up. You keep your mouth shut. You go, you do your job, and you shut up. We are the ones who get to talk about all this, and they just lose their minds over it.
That's true. That's true. And there are those who distract us from this point, from what's important here. And I'm not sure what they are motivated by sometimes, but you have them. They appear in our comment sections. They appear on social media. They appear on TV. Who on social media who say dumb stuff like, "Oh, but why don't you talk about this group? Why don't you talk about that group? Why don't you talk about this race and that race? Why don't you talk about the Jews?" All of these are distractions that I don't care why they do it. I don't care where they come from, but what they do is they serve the very ones that want to subjugate Western nations, want to undermine Western values, want to change the West into their playground. That's what these people are doing. I don't care what you are motivated by. If you come here and you distract from the actual topic, you are serving an agenda, whether you are doing it knowingly or unknowingly.
Satan.
You are serving an agenda. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. The most important thing, by far, the most important thing, demographically speaking, is, as we speak, the issue of Islam and the rise of it in the West. Nothing else is remotely as important as that. Nothing else. I repeat, nothing else is remotely as important as that.
So you're saying there are several things that are significantly more important than this?
Nothing else. Nothing. Let me see. Prime Minister Netanyahu. All right. We have to interrupt our show to watch a speech by Netanyahu. I don't know why I'm doing a Russian thing, but yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction.
Tyrants of Tehran.
They backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear Holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb.
Nuclear scientists, got that?
Of Iran's ballistic missile program.
Just said it.
Jeez.
Just said it. Taking out the nuclear scientists, taking out the whole shebang.
This is what. So they have been preparing this for quite a while now.
Yep, and
to
that
struck
means
as many targets as possible.
that means they have lots of people in Iran following these guys around, figuring out where everything is at, saying, "Hey guys, yep, he's in that building right now. Yep, 3rd floor. Yep, room on the corner. Yep, he's there. I can confirm." And I'm sure there's, I mean, it's all, they can always send spies in and so on, but it seems like there are plenty of people in the Iranian population who would love to help these guys. And the world, and even people in Israel may disagree with Netanyahu on a variety of issues. There are people who will want him gone after all of this. But when it comes to taking out Iran's nuclear capabilities, the entire world right now should be going, "Go BB, go BB, go, go BB, go BB, go, go BB, go BB, go, 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 go." Blow that crap up.
Yeah, some people are saying markets are crashing. I don't really see a big crash. I only see a drop here.
It's 9:10. What markets can be crashing at 9:10?
There are markets still open, man, across the world, and there are futures markets
Stock
still
markets?
open.
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
How does this all work?
Yeah, stock markets and stuff.
I thought they closed it sometime.
They do close, but futures markets are still open, and in other countries we have indicators of the markets still being open. I see a big drop today, but so far it hasn't gone beyond any line. So, in order for markets to crash, there needs to be more update here.
Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives.
I know this is very trivial, but he sounds like he has a cold or something.
Yeah, I was thinking, is he just getting old? Is he just? I mean, and I know he's getting older because we all get older every minute. But it's like, is it catching up with him a little more, or is he sick? I don't know.
Speak for yourself. I don't get older.
Of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Mm-hmm. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000s of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now, just imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped. Mm-hmm. Iran is now working on what it calls the new plan to destroy Israel. You see, the old plan failed. Iran and its proxies try to encircle Israel with a ring of fire and to attack us with the horrible attack of
I feel in the burning ring of fire. Sorry.
October 7th. But the people of Israel, the soldiers of Israel, rose like lions to defend our country. We crushed Hamas, we devastated Hezbollah, we hit Iranian proxies in Syria and Yemen. And when Iran directly attacked us twice last year, we struck back inside Iran itself. Yet in defending ourselves, we also defend others. We defend our Arab neighbors. They too have suffered from Iran's campaign of chaos and carnage. Our actions against Iran's proxy Hezbollah led to the establishment of a new government in Lebanon and the collapse of Assad's murderous regime in Syria. The peoples of those two countries now have a chance for a different future, a better future. So too do the brave people of Iran, and I have a message for them. Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed you for 46 years. I believe that the day of your liberation is near.
Ooh.
When that happens, the great friendship between our two ancient peoples will emerge once again.
Cyrus Accords.
I want to assure the civilized world, we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons.
There is a very nice thing that everyone who is familiar with Iranian society will tell you, and so many people that I have talked to from Iran, that I have interviewed, who are dissidents from Iran, have said the very same thing, which is that Iranians really don't have the whole anti-Israel thing. Iranians generally have lots of respect for Israel, but their regime tries to make it look like Israel is the greatest enemy. We have to destroy Israel. But you will see it in polls and in actions and everywhere else that the people of Iran are just not really on board with that whole idea.
Yeah,
they
and we've
never
seen
had any animosity toward Israel.
Yeah, we've seen this. We've seen the videos where the government puts an Israeli flag at the bottom of stairs going out of a school so that students can step on it as they go down, and all the students go around it. They won't walk on it to disrespect it.
Yeah. Pretty nice. La 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 la. Let's continue.
And Iran plans to give those weapons, nuclear weapons, to its terrorist proxies. That would make the nightmare of nuclear terrorism all too real. The increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America. Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan.
Yep.
And this is why for decades, it's led millions in the chants of death to Israel and death to America.
Yep.
Today, Israel is responding to those genocidal calls with action and with a call of our own. Long live Israel and long live America. Our
Woo! He said America. America, baby.
action will help make the
This
world.
dude, this dude is 75 years old, man. 75.
He said, "Long live America, man." He said, "Long live America." Amen.
Much safer place.
Well, let me hear that again. I want to put that on my soundboard.
With action and with a call of our own. Long live Israel and long live America. Our action will help make the world a much safer place. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in confronting Iran's nuclear weapons program. He has made clear time and again that Iran cannot have a nuclear enrichment program. Today,
He's sick.
it is clear that Iran is just buying for time. It refuses to agree to this basic requirement of peaceful nations. That is why we have no choice but to act, and act now. The hardest decision any leader has to make is to thwart a danger before it is fully materialized. Nearly a century ago, facing the Nazis, a generation of leaders failed to act in time. They were paralyzed by the horrors of World War I. They were determined to avoid war at all costs, and they got the worst war ever. They adopted a policy of appeasement. They closed their eyes and ears to all the warning signs. That failure to act resulted in World War II, the deadliest war in history. It claimed the lives of 60 million, including 6 million Jews, a third of my people. After that war, the Jewish people and the Jewish state vowed never again. Well, never again is now. Today, Israel has shown that we have learned the lessons of history. When enemies vow to destroy you, believe them. When enemies build weapons of mass death, stop them. As the Bible teaches us, when someone comes to kill you, rise and act first. This is exactly what Israel has done today. We have risen like lions to defend ourselves. Over 3,000 years ago, Moses gave the people of Israel a message that...
David, where does it say that in the Bible?
I do not know. You mean the if someone's coming to kill you, kill them first?
Yeah, you're supposed to know it all, man.
I don't know what in particular he's thinking of there.
It has steeled their resolve ever since. Be strong and courageous, he said. Today, our strong and courageous soldiers and people stand together to defend ourselves against those who seek our destruction. And by defending ourselves, we defend many others, and we roll back a murderous tyranny. Generations from now, history will record that our generation stood its ground, acted in time, and secured our common future. May God bless Israel. May God bless the forces of civilization everywhere. Thank you.
Interesting. Not the worst speech I've heard. So, David, what are your thoughts?
Pretty based.
You think so?
What sucks is, I mean, in a sane world, it would be okay. You have an entire regime that is literally a death cult that has their hands. Nope, they're tentacles, like a giant demonic octopus. They have their tentacles in all these different terrorist groups trying to bring about the end of the world, and they're trying to get nuclear weapons. What do you do? In any sane world, it would be, well, at the very least, at the bare minimum, stop them from getting nuclear weapons. You can make a case for just going in there and crushing the entire government. You can make that case very easily and so on like that. But at the very, very least, you can't let these guys get any close to having a nuclear weapon. And so in a sane world, this would be straightforward, common sense. What he's doing, right, that's bare minimum. That's not like, oh, he's gone too far. This is like the bare minimum for what a responsible leader would have to do. And yet, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Oh, look, they're genociding Iran. Oh, my goodness. Iran was just minding its business all these years, just trying to live in peace and tolerance with everyone, but Israel won't let them. You see, oh, my goodness. This is why the Jews must be wiped out. So we're going to get more of. Just listen to Jake Shields.
No, here's one of those very, very funny comments, and this strikes me as I'm not sure what your intention here is, Mr. underscore 00 deuce underscore. Seems like it might be a real name, but
well,
doesn't Israel have the Samson?
They do have that. That's just got nothing to do with this.
But here's the thing. What I'm going to say about this is, so the Samson option, Israel doesn't have Israel have the Samson. This is something that I often see brought up by critics of it. I'm not sure why I'm calling them critics of Israel, by the, anti-Zionists or directly anti-Semitic people who want to once again pick something that Israel has or Israel does and point at how bad Israel is because of this. So the Samson option is a deterrent option, a deterrent policy, military policy, or nuclear policy that is in order to deter certain forces or other nations from trying to go to an all-out war with Israel. The policy is in a case where there is a destruction of Israel at hand, Israel would enact a complete destruction of everyone involved with a nuclear option. The issue here is Israel is not the only country that has this policy. It is also called mutually assured destruction. Guess who else has that? The United States of America. I mean, they had it during the Cold War. I'm not sure if it's still kind of a thing. Guess who else has it? Russia. We never hear about Russia. There are many countries who have similar systems because
you said we never hear about Russia.
Because it is a system that was as a trend established during the Cold War as a deterrent of a last resort, which is supposed to stop any other force from trying to fight you to the death. That is basically what it is. But for some reason, people only want to mention Israel in this context. Once again. Don't mention any of the other countries, only Israel.
Hey, we should give everyone a little Bible lesson here and why it's called Samson, why it's called the Samson option. That is because Samson was the judge who was fighting the Philistines, one from whose name the Palestine was taken from. Anyway, they eventually captured Samson and so on, and they had him in the temple and were just making fun of him and so on. And he asked God to restore his strength, and he pushed down the pillars and brought down the temple on everyone who was gathered around him, humiliating him and so on. So he took himself out and all of them.
Yeah, that's it. So destroying yourself and the opposing side, if it has to come down to it. That's basically what it is. A statement from IDF spokesperson BGFE Defrin on the preemptive Israeli strike. Okay, I'm just going to listen to this one here for a minute. This is only a minute long. Let me see what he says. Never seen or heard this guy before.
Hey, why don't you just cancel the Tommy thing and make the entire thing about this?
For years, the Iranian regime has called for the destruction of the state of Israel, planning and advancing concrete military plans to do so. Over the past few months, intelligence has shown that Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. This morning, the IDF began preemptive and precise strikes targeting the Iranian nuclear program in order to prevent the Iranian regime's ability to build a nuclear bomb in the immediate time frame. We have no choice. We are operating against an imminent and existential threat. We cannot allow the Iranian regime to obtain a nuclear weapon that would be a danger to Israel and the entire world. This operation is for our right to exist here, for our future, and for our children's future. The State of Israel has the right and the obligation to operate in order to protect its people and will continue to do so. The IDF conducted significant preparations for this operation. We are well prepared, both in defense and offense, to defend ourselves. The IDF will continue to defend the State of Israel.
All right, so that's what's happening right now. And we'll see where this goes. Let's take a few super chats. Abu Bakr al-Puff Daddy said, what are Gulf Arabs and Saudi attitudes toward Iran? Nobody likes Iran in the Middle East. That's the quick answer.
Yeah, they're mortal enemies. They're mortal enemies with the Sunni nations around them. In fact, that was one of the big factors in the timing of the October 7th attacks, was that various Gulf nations were planning to normalize relations with Israel, in which case Iran's goal of wiping out Israel would have been, it'd be gone. It'd be gone. Like, you're not going to, people would be friendly with Israel. Sunni Muslims, who are the vast majority, would be on friendly terms with Israel. So what do? Tell your people you got to launch an attack now. Then Israel retaliates, and then look what the Jews are doing. See, this is why you can never get along with the Jews. So Iran knows it. Iran knows it. Iran knows that they're outnumbered, outgunned, out everything, and that's why they were trying to stop.
Hey, the most important thing we all need to talk about is actually this here. Was Anne Frank lesbian or bisexual? Her diary certainly proves she was attracted to girls. Pink news.
Very important stuff about
very,
a little girl.
Very important topic about a little child.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for.
Definitely need that during Pride Month. But the real question during Pride Month was Muhammad gay or bisexual? Which one was it? Let's examine the story of Al-Zut to find out.
Man. So Joseph Sneeko actually lives with Ye, whatever his name now. What? Lives with Ye, whatever his name now. Does he live with him? He probably does. That makes a lot of sense. I heard that so didn't Kanye admit recently that he was kind of bisexual because he was molested or something? I don't know.
I wasn't paying very close attention, but I saw everyone making fun of him over something he said. So about that, something with his cousin, doing something with his cousin.
My mom was actually the one who told me about the plane crash. My heart goes out to those affected by it. Also, nice hair, AP. And hi, David says your favorite maid. Thank you, appreciate that.
Hey, check out the next one.
What?
Check out the next one, man.
Wait, just a second. India plane crash. How many people died? 200 and something.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, one guy right in the middle of it? He comes out and he's just got some scratches.
Cam, PBD. Hey, Tommy, how you feeling about Sneeko? Tommy, he's not Muslim because he's gay. Sneeko does look like Dia, inshallah.
That's what Tommy said. Like, well, he's gay.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't see all of it?
No.
Oh yeah. So people like, what about Sneeko? He's like, well, we're gay, isn't it? I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He said he's wondering if he's gay, and if you're wondering if you're gay, then you're gay, isn't
it? Man, this is really bad. Air India Flight 171 crashed into a building after takeoff under investigation. 269 fatalities. One survivor. It's insane, man. One survivor who got up and started walking away. How does that even happen?
That's what's crazy, man. Everyone just instantly dead, and one guy just got some scratches on him.
Who is your favorite character?
That's exactly what happened at the beginning of Unbreakable. The guy was this huge train crash. Everyone dies except one guy who just walks away.
Well, it's a movie.
Now it happened.
Philippi says, who is your favorite character from the Islamic texts? Mine was Abu Lahab, but found out he had a sex slave, so now it's Zainab bint al-Harith.
Yeah, you could. Well,
it sounds really bad when I say it like this, but just putting the morality of the Islamic Satan, of the Islamic Shaitan into perspective, he actually kind of seems to be my favorite character in the whole, in Islam, because he's actually the good guy in the whole Islamic story.
Yeah, he's the one who saves. He's the one who saves all of us. And I mean, he starts off. He's the best Muslim. He's the best Muslim in one sense.
Yes.
God tells everyone, the angels, the jinn, hey, bow down to this guy. And it gets represented. We interpret that as Satan being the bad guy. I'm too proud to bow down to him. And it's not. I'm not supposed to be bowing down to a man. I'm made of fire. He's made of clay. Why am I going to be bowing down? I'm only supposed to be bowing down to Allah. And he doesn't realize, no, you do whatever Allah tells you, even if it contradicts what he told you 5 minutes ago. And so he's like, he's the eternal enemy because he didn't follow the rule. And by the way, I seriously think this is connected to the issue of abrogation, that Muhammad's going up to his followers and telling them what to do. And then 2 weeks later, he comes up and gives them a completely different rule. And this gets pointed out and people start making fun of it, making fun of Muhammad and making fun of the Muslim community for just believing every new thing that Muhammad comes up with. And then it gets put in there, hey, Satan is the one who pays attention to what you said before. The good guys, they all only listen to the most recent thing, and you ignore everything that happened before that. I think that's actually like maybe Muhammad putting his theology in to justify his constant changing, ever-changing revelations that he's making up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Satan in the Muslim sources, definitely cool and super base. I like Aisha when she's talking trash about Muhammad, and she's always talking mad trash. So she's cool. Zainab bint al-Harith, definitely cool. And then, man, my brain is fried. What's that guy? Abdullah ibn Abi Sar, before he actually reconverted to Islam in order to save his head from being removed from his body. But that dude was talking trash. So this guy was he had converted to Islam. He was one of Muhammad's scribes. Then he started changing the Quran, and Muhammad let him because he was better than Muhammad was at coming up with this stuff. And then he left Islam. He's like, there's no way this guy's a prophet. And he just kept making fun of Muhammad. He's like, if that guy's a prophet, then I'm a prophet, because he let me add to the Quran and change stuff. So there's no way this guy's a prophet. So he went around talking mad trash about Muhammad. So that guy was cool. I'm sure if we thought about it, we could think of a couple other guys in the sources who are super based.
What David just mentioned here, so I thought about this so much, and I kind of thought, I just don't get it, man. Like, when I was a Muslim, 1850. This is also mentioned in a different part of the Quran. Also, a matter that comes up to argue that the Quran has contradictions, because here he refers to, so the Quran says, and mention when we said to the angels, prostrate to Adam, and they prostrated except for Iblis. So Iblis is Satan in Islam. There's a theory that it actually comes from the Greek diabolos, but that's just one of the theories. He was of the jinn and departed from the command of his Lord. Then will you take him and his descendants as allies other than me, while they're enemies to you? So Allah creates Adam and tells the angels to prostrate to Adam, and all the angels prostrate except for Satan here in this case. And I always thought, whenever I heard this story, I thought to myself, this is weird. Why is he the bad guy in this situation?
Guys, think about that. So
I think that's what I would have. I would think, okay, I think this is a test. I'm not supposed to prostrate to a created
That's
being.
what I mean. And Allah's known for like testing his creation and so on. So I mean, just imagine, this would be like walking up and, because people don't, the story's familiar to people who study Islam. And I mean, just imagine that Allah walks up and he says, hey, bow down to that idol over there. There's an idol over there. Bow down to it. What is your response supposed to be? Is it, okay, Allah's telling me to bow down to this idol, so I'm going to go ahead and bow down to this idol and commit shirk? Or is the appropriate response, nice try, Allah, there's no way I'm bowing down. I only bow down to you, buddy. I only bow down to you. What are you supposed to do? And Allah lets you know. if he tells you to do something, even if it seems like shirk, do it anyway. Even if Allah is commanding you to commit shirk, you do it. And it doesn't matter what he commanded you before. And it doesn't matter what Islam teaches. You do whatever Allah's new ruling is.
Yep.
Why? Because that's what you have to do with Muhammad. Muhammad can come along and tell you one thing, and then 2 days later he can tell you something else, and you better obey his new ruling.
You better do that. That's how it go. That's how it go. Crazy Bear, is AP going to tell us how Mr. Jones strikes up a conversation with a black-haired flamenco dancer? Listen to Broken Promises by Resurrection Band. I don't know. Got to check it out. Jack Ray, David could use his superpower of repetition to overcome PBD repeat questions.
That's what I would do. If he's like, so how did this happen? Well, PBD, as I've been explaining to you for the past 10 minutes, I'll just repeat it all since you obviously weren't listening. And then I would just do that every time.
All right.
Let's come to Luton, which is where the English Defence League started. And it was born out of frustration. Luton, by the CEA, was named as the epicenter for terrorist atrocities in Europe. That's Luton. The head office of al-Mujahideen, Omar Bakri, Abu Hamza, some of the country's most feared radical jihadists, their head office was in my town. So to some people, this is a faraway story. When people go to fight for ISIS or they commit terrorist atrocities, it's just something you read in the news. I went to school with them. I grew up with them men. I've got friends who I grew up with who converted to Islam in jail, who are now part of those groups who have done jail for becoming ISIS terrorists. So I've experienced all of that. And growing up in Luton, when we went to school, there was the Muslim playground and the non-Muslim playground. We didn't create that. There was just there's total no assimilation. And I challenge every journalist that comes with me. I challenge anyone. And any American journalists who have come, I've had them come from the New Yorker, all different magazines. I said, right, I'll meet you in Luton. I said, now I'll give you a challenge. You go out in that town and find me Muslims with a non-Muslim. Just find me one that aren't selling drugs. Find me a group of Muslims that have non-Muslim friends in amongst them. You just won't do it. You will not find it. Every group of white children are with black children. Every group of black children are with white children. And I bring it back to even our school dinner tables. When you go into our school dinner halls, everyone's sitting intermixed. Whites, blacks, Indians, Chinese, because we're very diverse. And in the corner, there's 8, 10 tables of Muslims. So I watched that growing up. I experienced the hostility, the difference growing up in a town like that. So when people say multiculturalism's failed, I say Islam's failed. And you're too weak to admit that. So when we had the rape gang scandal, which to any American viewers to understand how big of a problem this
was. Very well put, very clearly explained. There is no separation between all the others here. There is only a separation between the Muslims and the others. There is no separation among the non-Muslims themselves. There's only a separation between Muslims and non-Muslims. And this is not something that people just choose. It is basically inbuilt into Islam. It is inbuilt into Muslim culture, into the Muslim way of living. That's how it develops. That's how it happens. And that's a problem. It's a big problem. It would be one thing if Islam was just about, okay, we just don't associate with others. That's it. Okay, fine. But that's not what it's all about. It's about more than that. It is that Islam tells people and teaches people to hate the others and to fight the others and to distrust them and to subjugate them when the time comes and to establish power and not let other people have the power and so on. Islam has it all inbuilt to be separate and to be superior and to subjugate the others. That is the problem. And the longer people don't realize this, the more they put everyone in danger and let the West die. That's that. That's that. Israel on high alert. Israel strikes Iran. Tehran. Okay.
It was. In 2004, I was 20 and I organised my first ever demonstration. I called it Ban the Luton Taliban. And I made leaflets. And I actually presented these leaflets because people think I've changed.
This is at 20 years old.
This is 20 years old. Now, I left school. I done well at school. Luton's the roughest town in the UK. It has the most poverty. It's a rough and violent town.
Were you ever part of a gang growing up or no?
No, not part of any gang. Many of my friends, just because of where I grew up, are involved in criminality.
Tough guys.
Tough, yeah.
At 16 years old, what were you doing?
At 16 years old, I left school and I'd done an aeronautical engineering apprenticeship with Britannia Airways. So I studied
for that aeronautical engineering
airplanes to become an engineer.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
nice. Nice.
Aeronautical engineering.
And then what happened? Then what happened?
Then the jihadis ticked him off and he became Tommy Robinson.
Here, look at this here. So let's first look at this at division by ethnic group, and then let's look at religion, right? Let's look at religion then.
Hey,
so
hey. Little side note. So World War III is trending in two ways. It's trend on Twitter. It's trending as World War III and as WW3, because everyone, you see, look, World War III is starting. Why? Because they took out some nuclear programs. Anyway, but people are making fun of it. Nakab Nancy says, breaking, Israel strikes Iran, starting World War III for the 4th time this year. And 3-year Letterman says, tonight marks the 100th World War III of the last decade. What a moment. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny that people are making fun of it.
Nice. Yeah, so demographics of Luton. So here is Luton, which Tommy Robinson mentions. Look at the demographics here. Look at this. Look at the demographics, how things changed here, how quickly things changed here. If you think this cannot happen to your place, think again. So 1971 estimations, ethnic group, white, total 93%. That's the estimate. For the others, there is no proper estimate there. Now look at 2021. White, total 45%. It fell in 50 years from 93% to 45%. While Asian or Asian British or other is at 37%. Black or Black British is 10%. Mixed total 4.3%, and so on. So that's one aspect, okay? But here's what's really messed up. 2001 religion. Christianity or Christian 59%, 59.65%, Muslim 14.62%. In only 20 years, in 2021, Christian 37.87%, Muslim 32.94%.
More than doubled the percentage.
Look at this brutality.
And if you look at the numbers, it basically tripled. The population has gone up, so the percentage more than doubled, but the actual population of Muslims went from 26,000 to 74,000, which is basically triple.
Yeah. This is what happens. This is the Luton that he describes where he grew up. Imagine him growing up. Things are very different from how it was when he was a teenager. The way it is now. Very, very messed up. Unrecognizable. Imagine you use a time machine, which obviously exists, as everybody knows, and traveled forward in the 90s, like 30 years forward. The same city would become completely unrecognizable in terms of demographics and all that. It's really messed up, man. And people just let this happen.
Yeah, and not only do they let it happen, it's you're evil if you say one word about it, if you bring it up as a problem.
No, look, the Jews are the real problems. Look at that. 0.29% to 0.1%. Why did they get out of here? You see?
So the Jewish population, shocker, the Jewish population was halved.
Yeah.
Was halved.
NEV.
So I did that. I done well. I didn't try at school. I naturally done well. I got an A in maths. I got 5 Bs, 5 Cs, and GCSEs. But I never tried.
Were you always in trouble in high school or no?
Trouble as in I was a Jack the Lad.
Were you arrested? Would you?
No, never arrested. No, never arrested. Nothing like that. No
fights. Altercations.
There was fights and altercations. What I thought was normal growing up, I realised wasn't normal. It was just seemed normal to us in Luton. Luton's a very violent town, and problems were dealt with violence, whether it be one school against another. There was a lot of problems.
When you say violent town, like who came from Luton? Names that we would know. Is it like, is there history?
Andrew Tate's from Luton.
He's from Luton as well. Really interesting. Because, initially he's the one that told me, put me in contact with you.
Okay.
Originally when we were talking. So, okay, so you're coming up in a place like that, but at 20 years old, which is 04, 21 years ago, where is the passion
Hey,
coming?
hold up. Now, of course, things have changed between Andrew Tate and Tommy Robinson by now, but Tommy Robinson is not very popular among Muslims, right? They really don't like it when he's being hosted or when he speaks somewhere. So it is kind of funny that it was according to PBD here, it was actually Andrew Tate who put them in contact. It's kind of funny that Andrew Tate has just like inadvertently does all of us a great service over and over again. It's fantastic, man.
Coming for you to want to go up and do something about this?
20 years old, I had a cousin who was sexually groomed. We call them grooming gangs. They're rape gangs. So I had a cousin who was taken by the Pakistani community. She was raped continuously. She woke up one time in a flat and there's loads of bearded men all raping her. She run naked through the streets. There was the prostitute. She was only a child. And there was a prostitute that then rang her dad. Her dad's gone to get her. But she kept escaping the house to get back to the gangs.
How old was she at the time?
She would have been 13.
They're doing this to her at 13 years old?
They do it younger than 13.
And this is your first cousin?
This is our cousin, yeah.
First cousin?
No, my cousin's cousin.
So like a second cousin?
Second cousin, yeah.
And somebody that you interact with, you know this girl?
No, yeah, and I remember listening as a child to all the family meetings about it. So the family would all be having meetings, but this may sound unbelievable to people. The police wouldn't do anything. They just called her a drug addict. Not a child, not a victim, a drug addict.
Was she one? Was she?
Yeah, because what they do is, the process is they get a young girl and they groom them. And the grooming period is they give them trainers, they give them phones, they give them alcohol, cigarettes, and they're nice to them at first. And then they get their confidence and they separate them from their family. They say, your mum and dad don't trust you. They treat you like a little child. And there's a process that these children go through. And then they get them into sexual relationships with one man at first. And then that man will manipulate the girl. And before they know it, there's 10 men on them. And then literally there's stories which people would find amazing that in some of the houses, the girls are in the houses and there's men queuing at the doors to go in one by one to rape them and rape them and rape them. And
yeah, hang on. What Black Angel just pointed out there, the separating them from their families. Oh, your family, I'm the one who really cares about you and so on. And then having sex with a man, but you're actually getting them ready for what you really want out of them and so on. This is exactly Andrew. I mean, they're doing different things. Andrew Tate's goal is to get them on web doing porn for him and stuff like that. But same basic methodology.
Yeah. So it's good that he actually explains it like this, and thank you, Black Angel, for pointing out the similarity to Andrew Tate as well. But it's good that he explains it like this because lots of people don't really seem to understand how things go in terms of grooming gangs. And when people say grooming gangs, there is a trend. There are some people who say just call them rape gangs. Okay, but we can call them rape gangs, but calling them rape gangs kind of also diminishes the actual point and the awareness of how these groups function, because what happens here is not that these gangs of immigrants, of gangsters who run around kidnapping and raping little girls and then leaving them there. It doesn't really go that way. You have to be aware of how it's actually done in order to actually understand and realize the whole messed up, insidious, horrible nature of it. This is organized crime of targeting little girls, not just girls, by the way, in some occasions also boys, targeting little girls and manipulating them, assessing how susceptible they are to manipulation, manipulating them into thinking and setting up one person for one girl, making them think that this one person is very, very reliable and has her best interest at heart, and establishing a personal relationship with that girl, manipulating her over time, separating her more and more from her own family, from her own environment, giving her things, making her more and more emotionally dependent, giving her rewards, making her genuinely think that everything is perfect, everything is fine, everything is good, everything is all right. And then slowly prepare their grounds and establish the circumstances under which she would then be put to service for the group, for the gang. such as convincing her that she needs to do something for you. You know, like, you have done so much for her. You people have done so much for her. She needs to help out. She needs to give back somehow. She needs to do something. One thing that she could do is of course, you're beautiful. You know, you're beautiful. You could use that beauty of yours to do this and this and that for us, but it's only temporary. I'm not telling you to become a prostitute. I'm not telling you to become to sell your body or anything like that. But right now we are just in a situation where we have to do this. Look, I have to make sacrifices. I make so many sacrifices. I do so many degrading things to myself because I need to do this right now, just temporarily, until we get to a certain point. So you could also help out. You could also do something nice. You could also, for a little bit of money, just for now, maybe just once, have sex with this guy over there for this much money. He's going to give us lots of money. And then, and then we will eventually, we'll be rich. We will have more money. We will get this done. We will get that done. And of course, it doesn't end there. It starts with once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, groups, and so on. And before you know it, you have a girl slowly, in a very messed up, in a very sick way, introduced to becoming your tool to sometimes make money, at other times just to get pleasure from her, just to humiliate her, and so on. This is just one example of things that grooming gangs, for example, do. It's not people going around and raping random people and letting them leave. This is grooming. This is the problem. Lots of people, even those who speak up against grooming gangs, don't really know how it functions, which is why they're not being very helpful. And I'm glad that he actually sits down and explains it. But the one thing that is even better here is that that he also explains pretty much what Andrew Tate is doing. But lots of people who are listening are not realizing that Andrew Tate also operated in the same way when he groomed his victims.
What's crazy is, I mean, think about how clearly Tommy just broke down the process. How is that not being taught to every schoolgirl in every one of these cities from the time they're in kindergarten? Like, you need to watch out because this is what people are going to do to you. I understand you can't say Pakistanis because that will be Islamophobic, but at least break this down to the girls every year, multiple times throughout their schooling, that this is what people are going to try to do to them.
Yeah.
And that the people are going to be Pakistani, most likely.
But anyway, good news is that I received an invitation from China. China is currently China just announced that they're trying to get influencers in the West to go on a massive influencer tour in China for influencer exchange, to show them how beautiful China actually is. And people are going to be paid and so on. And I have been also contacted by this organization in China. It's all over the news. And I can't believe I actually received an invitation. I'm not sure why I received an invitation, but I have received an invitation from China to be one of the influencers who go to China to experience the real China on a real, beautiful Chinese propaganda tour. Maybe I should just do it. David, let's go. Let's be brainwashed by China. Let's be brainwashed by China and get money for it. Yeah.
And in 2000, as I said, I was successful. I was doing all right for a young man. And it was the Beslan massacre. And then the Beslan school massacre. To anyone who doesn't watch that, you should watch it. I was young and I remember watching it, and I was 19, 20, I think, at the time.
Yeah, you're young, AP. Do you even remember that?
In Russia, the Chechens had gone into a school.
You joking?
And the jihadists had took over the school.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And all the parents were outside.
They killed like hundreds of kids, man.
The kids are in school, and you hear there's terrorists have took control of the school. So the parents are outside the school, and I remember watching the mums drop on their knees, and the parents as they started massacring the children inside the school. So all their kids are getting murdered. And I remember watching it thinking, well, that's not one person doing it. There was a whole group of men that done it. And then just a month later, I'm watching Muslims in Luton get interviewed in a chicken shop in Luton. And they're saying that this was a justified attack and it would be justified in a English school. And from that moment on, that was my moment, because I remember I watched this man say it. His name was Saif al-Islam, which is Sword of Islam. And I watched him say it and I thought, who is he? And by this time, I was involved in, the football scene in the UK. We have many would look at it as a football hooligan scene, where lots of young men go to football together and certain clubs would have rivalries with each other. I was involved in football.
Hooligan culture. That's what he's saying.
Scene. I remember looking at this group, and that was my awakening. I looked at the group and I saw Almaz Radin, the man that was talking. And then the more I looked at them, I saw Omar Bakri, Abu Hamza. I saw all of them were part of this group. 60% of the terrorists in UK jails are part of this group. And then when I looked at them, I saw the head office was on Biscuit Road. So I started looking at what they were saying and on their website. And then they had a paste table set up in our town centre. We have a bakery called Don Miller's. And I went down to the paste table and watched what they were doing. I thought that they were literally recruiting to send people to fight against our armed forces at the time, Afghanistan and Iraq. And they were openly doing it, celebrating it, sending so many.
Sometimes I feel like I'm living in some insane world, man. I don't really know. Because what he's describing here is what we have been saying and what others have been saying before us for the longest time now, for decades. For decades. This stuff has been happening in the middle of Europe, in the middle of European cities for decades. We're actual enemies of your own country, enemies of your own culture, enemies of your own people, enemies of all of you, come here and openly propagate their demonic, their hateful, evil, destructive ideologies, and the governments would just let it happen. They would be completely fine with it. They would be cool with it. They would occasionally talk about it. There would be sometimes raids when things go a little bit too extreme, but they would still just continue to let it happen. Because whenever there was actual crackdown on these groups, it would be, oh no, has surveillance gone too far? Is this because of Islamophobia? Is this because of racism? Is this because of bigotry? Why can't we just let them do whatever the heck they want to do, even if they want to rape and kill us all? Isn't it going too far that we actually want to shut down those who want to hate and kill us? This has been happening for decades now. But he's sitting here and telling us the story. But we know it all. We know this is how it happened. Everybody knows this is how it happened. But the issue here is it's just going to continue to happen. This is not a wake-up call here. This is not it is a wake-up call, but this is not the moment where everyone is waking up. This is not the moment where everyone is thinking, wait a minute, you're right. You're right, we did let this happen. Wait a minute, you're right, people have been saying this, and this did happen for decades. Now it's time to wake up. This would be the expected reaction, but it will not happen. People will not wake up. We talk about it right now. In 20 years, maybe the UK will be on the verge of being of having its Muslim prime minister, or even something even worse, and we will be sitting here and having a very similar conversation about how we haven't been saying this kind of stuff for decades now, and people just let it happen. It's a sick world.
Yeah, Tommy was right earlier when he said he was just 10 years ahead of everyone else.
Yep.
Like us. We were ahead of everyone else, but everyone else is eventually realizes we're all right.
We're all right. Well, what's your solution to this, David? What's your solution?
Same thing we learned from Conan. Crush your enemies.
What's your real solution? We know the problem. What's your solution to this?
What's your solution?
Tommy is eventually repeatedly asked this by PBD, but people catching on. I've been saying this forever. The ultimate destroyer of Islam would be an informed population of free people. That's it. An informed population of free people. That's why Islam does everything it can to keep you from being informed and from keeping you from being free. It can't deal with that. And so that, by the way, Tommy gets it. That's why he's focusing on social media and documentaries and stuff like that. He's trying to build an informed population. That's their only hope.
I just sorry I laugh, but here is what's freaking funny.
It's funny. It's funny.
Look at this. Just look at this. I'm sorry, but this is gonna put me down a path of the good old bad me, of the good old bad AP here. So here's a term called remigration. Remigration is the proposed idea of sending people back, sending lots of people who cannot be integrated back. And of course, there are different aspects of how you can frame this, how you can talk about it, which aspect of it, or which people would be remigrated, and so on. But immediately, the Western perception of things starts immediately like this. Remigration is a far-right European concept of ethnic cleansing via the mass deportation or genocide, voluntary return of non-white immigrants and their descendants.
Tommy doesn't talk about this specifically, but he talks about everything being labeled far right to warn Europeans away from it.
There's one thing. There's one thing I can say about Western people, which is,
But the people are retarded.
Yeah, he talks about that with the English Defense League, and all the way up to recently when they were coming after him, when he wasn't even in the country and had nothing to do with anything, wasn't doing anything, and they were, and this is all being perpetuated by the English Defense League. It's like the English Defense League has been gone for a decade. There's no English Defense League, but they're blaming everything on the far right English Defense League and so on.
well, how about we try to resettle and maybe send back those people who actually hate our country and don't want to live here anymore?
What? That's racist. That's literally ethnic cleansing. It's a far-right, racist, white nationalist genocide idea.
But don't they do that in Islamic? Yeah, but they can do that. It's okay. So retarded.
Many Muslims out there to be radicalized, to fight in jihad. And I'm thinking, how are they doing this in our town centre? How are they
How old are you at the time? You're 20 at the time?
Yeah, I was 20 at the time. So then I made leaflets. And remember, we'd seen our daughters, our cousins, our relatives, so many girls at school. When I went to school, I knew so many girls that were being raped and prostituted. But at the time, as children, we just saw them as being with all the older Pakistani men. So a lot of the kids would view the girls as slags. We're looking at the girls thinking they're all with all the older Pakistanis. As children, we weren't viewing them as victims. It's only as you grow up that you realise they're kids and they're being taken.
That's still going on with the people who don't view Andrew Tate's victims as victims. It's just,
oh, you dirty whore! You of course this is what you wanted. You wanted to do porn.
But that's interesting because when you're young, he's pointing out when you're young and you're in school and you see these girls in your school hanging out with the older Pakistani guys, and you find out, the girls are banging them. Oh, these girls are just they're slags, man. They're slags. Not realizing how the girls ended up in that position, that there's an entire grooming process, that this has been known for centuries as a method of pimps and so on, lover boy method and so on. And that's just messed up.
Hold up. Meyer Tuesday says, thank you, Israel. Visegrad 24 says, Iran confirms that Israel has killed Hossein Salami, the RGC commander-in-chief.
Commander-in-chief. I wonder if that was the hole in the side of the building there.
Here's a photo of him, by the way. So this is a photo of him, Hossein Salami.
I've seen that dude before.
Commander-in-chief of the IRGC. I think this is a photo after Israel killed him. But Iran confirms that Israel has killed Hossein Salami, the IRGC's commander-in-chief, Ghulam Ali Rashid, the Armed Forces strategic commander, Dr. Tehranji, the project supervising the Ahmad plan to develop nuclear weapons, and project supervisor for sub-project
Gosh, man.
which on nuclear explosive testing, he was one of Iran's top nuclear scientists. Faridun Abbasi, the former head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization.
Dude, this level of taking everyone out at once. First of all, it's like Breaking Bad when there were like, what was it, 9 or 11 guys all in different jails that they needed to take out within a 2-minute period, and they actually pulled it off. That's kind of like that. I'd say this isn't quite as impressive as the pagers blowing off the testicles of all those jihadis, of all those Hezbollah jihadis, but it's pretty close. I mean, they took out all the key players at once, instantly.
This is only the confirmations that we have right now. I'm pretty sure that there's more to this, but these are confirmations directly from Iran. So Iran has directly confirmed that these people, so Salami and the others, have been taken out.
Hey, AP. AP. So look, you're taking out the leaders of their armed forces and so on. The guy who started their nuclear, the guy who was running their nuclear program before, the guy who's running it now. They just took out all these people instantly. So anyway, you get a call. You're an Iranian. You get a call from the government. Hey, all the previous guys who were associated with this nuclear program just got killed by Israel. We need you to step up and take over the program. You want that job? Does anyone in Iran want the job? Anyone in it? Dude, this reminds me. Yeah, this reminds me of like when they took out like all of Hezbollah's leadership, and then they're like, "Who's going to be next?" Like, who wants to be next? Who wants to be next in line to just get killed?
Not me. Hossein Salami. Man, Hossein Salami was an Iranian.
He was turned into salami.
The Wikipedia article has been updated already. It's kind of funny. Hossein Salami was.
Is that a Zabiba, or is his hair just weird?
I think
it's got to zoom in on that. I want to know if it's a Zabiba, in which case I know he's serious, or
I'm pretty sure this is a Zabiba.
That's a Zabiba, man.
That's a Zabiba.
This dude was extremely devout. Was an extremely devout Muslim. He's got a badge of honor on his forehead.
And you know what that means?
Come on, we got to get a clip. Come on, you got to play just a couple seconds of it. Man.
If he has a Zabiba, then I'm sorry, but we have to play.
You got to play it.
Zabiba, Zabiba, I got it. Zabiba, 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 I got it. Zabiba, forehead looking like a gold beam. Praise be to Allah, I'm such the machine. I hit that rug like 5 times a day. Now my dome got something righteous to say. Imam walk by, he give me that nod. Cause my head look like a head. Round is kinda intense. People asking if I walk into a fence. Nah, bruh, it's the mark of the prostrator. Certified suju gladiator. Sister looking like mashallah. She see the bump, she drop her shawl. Even my barber said, what's this crater? Told him that's the path to my creator. Zabiba, Zabiba, I got it. Zabiba, 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 I got it. Zabiba, sweating on my sajada like I'm in a gym. And I do it all for Allah, not the will. Zabiba, Zabiba, I gotta pick Zabiba, 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 I gotta pick Zabiba. Mine's Zabiba, got a shadow of its own. GPS pinged it as a prayer zone. It got freaking fly miles to Jenna. Got more bumps than a camel in Ghana. Brothers be jealous trying to get theirs drawn. Rubbing their heads on gravel till dawn. But you can't fake what the rug provides. That suju sauce, custom design. Hell, I ain't flexing. Okay, I'm flexing, but only for Allah, don't get it twisted. This Zabiba got me heaven listed. Zabiba, Zabiba, I got it. Zabiba, 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 I got it. Zabiba, head so blessed it's got Wi-Fi bars connected to all no need for stars. Zabiba, Zabiba, Zabiba in the masjid light. Zabiba, Zabiba when I sleep at night. Zabiba, this bump ain't just cosmetic. Zabiba, Zabiba, it's a badge from the majestic.
Yes, this is my song.
If that doesn't win a Grammy, nothing should. And the Grammy should be shut down forever.
I know.
Zabiba, Zabiba, I got a big Zabiba, 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 I got a
And remember, everyone, just remember the saying of all the men with all their Zabibas. What do they say? Always, if the Zabiba's popping, the burkers are dropping.
Man, you know, when I came up with the tune of the song, I didn't think it would be this good.
That's a jam, man. I tell you, you're gonna have people walking around all over the world, just walking down the street. Zabiba, Zabiba. Eventually, it will get into the heads of Muslims, and you'll have Muslims going down the street. Oh, Zabiba, Zabiba, I got a big Zabiba. Except for this dude, because he didn't realize that Zabiba, it's one big. It's like a target for a sniper.
Yeah, yep.
Bad idea. buddy.
I told David about this, but it was basically just I'm sitting there looking at a clip or looking at a live stream that we had, and in that live stream we mentioned Sajid Lipam. So we were looking at a Sajid Lipam video, and then David says, "Wait a minute, is that a Zabiba on his head?" And I'm like, "I think it's Zabiba." And then I said, "Zabiba, Zabiba, I got a big Zabiba." And as I was watching that, I thought, hey, wait a minute, I could turn it into a song. So I did. And this is what came out of that. Anyway, so this is Mr. Salami. Mr. Salami is now no longer with us.
And now he's in hell, or his version of paradise, depending on your perspective, surrounded by the men of Al-Zut, who will be gang banging him for eternity.
That's pretty bad, man. That's pretty bad. I'm not sure why there's a photo of Salamis up here. But so these are the current casualties as we have them, the current fatalities. So Israel directly took out the IRGC's commander-in-chief, which is pretty impressive stuff. Raisin Bread says, ex-Muslim Christian here. It seems like these days Muslims are being forced to accept that there are ex-Muslims. This was unthinkable a decade ago. What does this mean for the future of Muslims and Islam? Well, it definitely means that it will increase the awareness and also the relevance and the familiarity with people who leave Islam, and will probably increase the likelihood of Muslims themselves becoming ex-Muslims. Because unlike in Christian society, where it wasn't a hidden thing, in Muslim society it was actually kind of hidden that there are ex-Muslims. But as they grow more and more, people actually become aware of it, and Islam is preserved with a lot of fear in people. And when people see that there are actually those who left Islam and they are not being abused by the devil day and night, it might also encourage them to look into that. David, what do you think?
As far as this super chat goes, I keep telling people they have no idea how good it how good they have it right now with criticizing Islam compared to just 20 years ago when it was a complete nightmare. It was a complete nightmare and everyone attacked you. And I tell them about things people said back then. Like, if you said back then that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl, you were called a liar. And like across the board, Muslims would be calling you a liar. If you said back then that Islam has a death penalty for apostasy, you were called a liar. And then you wouldn't just be called a liar by Muslims, you'd be called a liar by atheists, you'd be called a liar by Christians, because like who are we supposed to believe? Who are we supposed to believe? All these Muslims are saying you're lying, and who are we gonna believe? So I always point out how much better people have it now than back then. But this is one of the things. Back then, it was so rare to have a public ex-Muslim, a vocal ex-Muslim who's speaking out against Islam, that since there were just a few of them, Muslims would say back then, this guy was never a Muslim. He's a fake. He was always a Christian, and he's just doing this for show, or something along those lines, or he's a plant by the Jews. And they could deny that there have ever been ex-Muslims. You were told back then no one has ever left Islam. And if you were reading the Muslim sources, you're like, what are you talking about? Abu Bakr had to fight wars against the apostates. That was the first generation of Muslims. They were leaving Islam. He had to fight wars against apostate. What are you talking about? No one has ever left Islam. But it was just a common myth. And fortunately, we don't have that myth anymore. We don't have that myth anymore because ex-Muslims are everywhere.
Ex-Muslims are everywhere. Ex-Muslims are everywhere.
The Murtads united will never be defeated.
The Murtads.
Dawn is broken into everyone. The U.S. Embassy in Israel has ordered all government employees and their family members to shelter in place until further notice. On April 12th, Trump gave Iran a 60-day deadline to reach a deal over its nuclear program. That deadline expired yesterday. Iran was warned.
Well, I warned you. Gave you the best warning.
I think Trump also said something yesterday about,
I would hope that Iran makes a deal, but Israel might just strike them.
he said something like that yesterday, I think. Yeah, he made a statement yesterday. Trump says Israeli strike on Iran could very well happen and warns of possible massive conflict in the Middle East. By that time, he was probably aware of an upcoming strike.
Look at that follow up there. Iranian state TV, no signs of radioactive contamination following Israel's strike on the Natanz nuclear site. They blew it to smithereens. Fortunately, no signs of radioactive contamination.
Nice. Reports emerge of Quds Force commander Ismail Qani's assassination. Now, this would be very significant. The Quds Force, again, one thing to look up, especially for those who think that Iran just wants to exist. The Quds Force is an Iranian branch of the army that is actually, officially, literally a force established in order to meddle into other countries in the Middle East and their businesses. It is literally called Quds Force. What Quds stands for here is the Islamic term for Jerusalem. So it's Jerusalem Force, Quds Force. This is the name of this branch. It is a branch that that cooperates with non-government organizations in the Middle East, such as Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and so on. So they are pretty much an extraterritorial intelligence and terrorist organization that is in charge of using Iranian proxy forces to wage proxy wars in the Middle East. That is what the Quds Force is. So it would be Israel's right completely to take out the entire force if they want to, and they should. If the commander is taken out, the last one before Ismail Qani was actually that one guy, Qasem Soleimani, who several years ago was assassinated. Al-Zut Fourth. Seth, that real Jewish expert in the chat, says Mossab Youssef posted X for the first time in 7 months. Really?
Yeah, check it out. Posted twice today.
Mossab Hassan
hasn't posted at all in 2025.
What?
Until today. He came out of retirement. He said, "Dear companions, are you with me?"
Wait, why did he say this 14 hours ago?
That's what's weird, right? Like he said it before anything happened.
Dear companions, are you with me? The time has come. Negotiating with terrorists has been a strategic mistake and would never bear fruit. Democratic leaders who sit on the table with terrorists and give them legitimacy by the name of peacemaking are weak and don't qualify to lead.
They are not even fit to be leaders.
They talk too much, but they accomplish so little. Enough of Ayatollah and his endless terror. In this specific case, the use of force is totally justified, if not a virtue. The way to stop terrorists from obtaining mass destruction weapons is not through negotiations. Those who think otherwise are absolutely wrong. No hesitation. Strike. Nice.
That's my view. It's like, oh, let's just negotiate with these guys. You're talking about a terrorist regime leading, since the government controls it, a terrorist state, and they keep wanting to screw with everyone. We're gonna make this nuclear bomb unless you give us trillions of dollars. You want us to stop building the bomb? I would not play around with these guys at all.
Wait, this just reminds me of this.
Wow, where do I begin? To analyze the mental state of this self-proclaimed savior of the Gaza children. Here is my heart. Who authorized you to speak on behalf of the Arab children of Gaza? Who authorized you?
You just did.
You never been there. You don't care.
So am I Palestinian?
And now
or am I
you
not?
think you hold the higher moral ground. You don't.
I do.
You're not the savior. You always need a victim in order to pose as the savior. You're not the savior. First, learn how to control yourself. Learn how to control your tongue buds before you try to control the world. It's a big situation in Gaza. All of us are heartbroken for the death of the children of Gaza. All of us. That includes Israel. Israel considers what's happening in Gaza a tragedy. It's a tragedy made up by the terrorists that you sympathize with, that you want to validate and legitimize. Then we will have to deal with the chaos that you create, your emotional being, going all over the place. Who authorized you to speak on the behalf of the Gaza? Nobody did.
You did.
You self-proclaimed, just like Mahmoud Abbas, just like Yasser Arafat, just like all the Palestinians who have been feeding on the pain of the Palestinian children. You are a parasite, a bottom feeder. This is what you are. So before you speak against the prime minister of a democracy and accuse him of being a terrorist, you need to look at yourself in the mirror. You have been supporting Hamas and it's recorded against you for eternity. So don't play the game now that your fight is for the children in Gaza. This is not your fight. You know who's fighting for the children of Gaza? The IDF. That is killing Hamas. That is uprooting Hamas so the children of Gaza can have their freedom after 36 years of slavery. Those are the ones who qualify to speak on the topic, not you sitting in your comfort. And you want to have an opinion about it.
All right,
this is the problem that we have dealing with scumbags like this.
All right, let me.
That was a pretty sick burn. I still prefer the "you are not even fit to be a mother."
Damn.
That was classic.
Rebecca, what's up, Rebecca?
Yeah, did you check out that?
Reports are increasing that within the next hour, Khamenei is expected to declare war on Israel, says Rebecca.
I still don't even know how that would work. Like, you can't send the army because there are all these other countries in between you and Israel. So what do? Do you send your Air Force? Israel would completely obliterate your Air Force. So what are you going to do? Like, just fire a bunch of rockets? You already tried that. It didn't work. You killed a goat. You killed a goat, and then you killed. Didn't they kill like one Palestinian or something like that?
Yeah. I think that was the last strike I think they did was like one Palestinian person died as a result of the Iranian retaliation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Iran, you can't win this, Iran. You can't do it. And you shouldn't have been running your mouth screaming death to Israel. We're going to build a nuclear bomb, because they can take out your entire program and your entire military leadership anytime they want. And then they gave you months to come to an agreement, and you wouldn't do it. And then as soon as the window of opportunity expires, they take out the entire leadership of your military and the nuclear program. It's like, what did you expect from the guys who literally blew off the testicles of endless jihadis? I don't know what to do, man. I don't. Are they inbred there, or is it just Islam that's done this to them?
Islam makes them inbred.
So Islam makes them inbred, and then the inbreeding makes them stupid, and then yeah, that's about it. Each generation gets stupider and stupider.
Just like Stu Peter. Yeah. All right. Vic the Red, Operation Nation of Lions down with the IRGC. Targeted strikes on higher level IRGC and LFs. Do people think there is a coordination with resistance on the ground? Probably. There are probably, I mean, Israel probably has a lot of intelligence assets inside Iran, because this is a problem. Iran is, as we just said earlier, full of people who really don't like the Iranian regime, and full of people who actually have respect for Israel. So Israel has, among Iranians, Israel probably has good chances to find lots of people that will be willing to cooperate with Israel against the Iranian regime. So I'm sure there are lots of assets, lots of people inside Iran that are helping Israel with intelligence and all that.
Hey, I mean, think about it. Like, seriously, right? Like, what did Israel just do? And they called this stage one. But they just took out the leaders of the nuclear program, the leaders of the military, and so on. They just took them out, right? And now Rebecca is saying that Iran's going to declare war or something like this. If Iran declares war, guess what? Iran's going to do something, and Israel's going to go strike a bunch more places and so on. But I mean, if Israel takes out like the leaders, takes out the administration, which they can do, that seems like a really good time for the population to say, we're going to take over. And Israel's going to say, by all means, hope that you do.
Interesting. Well, the thing is, the good thing is that even if Khamenei declares war and then tries to send soldiers over, if they fly to Israel, half of their jets will stop functioning midair and just fall. So they will lose half the army anyway. So.
The other half are going to get shot down.
Yeah. So
before they ever get anywhere near Israel.
Great to see Tommy on PBD, says Rafil Islam. Yeah, PBD is horrible, but great that he has actually Tommy Robinson on there. So,
and I mean, this was ideal interview for PBD, because even though he's asking the same question over and over again, he let Tommy talk. Out of this 2.5 hours, probably 2 hours and 15 minutes to 2 hours and 20 minutes was all Tommy Robinson.
I don't know if you've seen videos of the tourists of people in Egypt, but lots of people traveled to Egypt to organize a march on the Rafah gate of Gaza, and Egypt just detained many of them and just sent them back home.
That's pretty funny.
Egyptian atheist, my friend, sent me a video earlier, asked me what they're saying, and it was in Turkish, and I told them what they were saying in Turkish. But basically, the group arrived with a plan in Egypt to walk through the Sinai Desert for 2 days, and then to walk through to the Rafah gate, and to try to end the blockade and bring people and help the people of Gaza and all that. And the Egyptian government just detained them and deported them all. And so the Turks made a statement describing the Egyptian president as the pharaoh, and were trying to depict themselves as Moses and the Israelites. Very ironic, isn't it? The activists, Muslims can't nuke Israel with Al-Aqsa hostage. Yep. Ashmay's jihadi hamsters thanks David Wood for that image.
Oh, because the cotton in their cheeks. That's funny. I forgot about that.
CO fireworks in Iran. May the Ummah reach peak weakness. God bless Israel. Idaro goes and I'm scared. Oh, hello, guys. Stay safe. Hope everything goes well. Hope everything goes well. Arctic Base just heard Israel has launched Tovia Synchro in Iran.
DEFCON 1.
Netanyahu, long live Israel and long live America. But I thought Israel wants to destroy us. They said Israel controls the world. Moshko, and well, it looks like my battalion is mobilizing again. I didn't have the chance to make the new batch of QR codes. Oh well, Momo boom boom room it is. Yeah, stay safe, Mosh. I just read that Israel has just called on thousands or tens of thousands of reservists. Not sure what's going to happen within the next few days now. Liam Scott, Bassam made a return after being gone for a year. We need Mossab to return. What happened to Mossab? He disappeared after your interview with him. I know this. After my interview with him, he suddenly disappeared.
He's like, there is nowhere else to go from now. I have reached the top of the mountain being on the Apostate Prophet's channel. There is nothing to do from now on.
Exactly.
He went and retired and lived on a mountain.
That's how it happened. That's how
became a monk.
That's what it happened. What the heck is happening here?
What?
And Daniel Hakikachu is having a debate right now.
Hey, don't be talking about Daniel Hakikachu, man.
What?
He's been catching flack from Muslims for being friends with me.
Why is he? How was he friends with you?
Well, because he shook my hand at that debate, and so the Muslims, Jai earlier said, "Look at these Muslims complaining about you." They're like, "Look at Daniel Hakikachu. He is shaking the hand of the worst person in the world and the biggest Islamophobe and our main enemy in the universe. Oh, this shows his true colors." And so I tweeted. What did I tweet? It was pretty funny, man. You didn't see my tweet, man? It was super bait. It was super funny and based. What I said was, because I didn't want them to be able to take out Daniel Hakikachu like this and discredit him like this. So what I said was, lol, Muslims who can't defeat Daniel Hakikachu's powerful arguments against them are trying to compensate by complaining about his friendship with me. Nice try, jihadis, but Daniel will always like me way more than he likes you. Oh yeah, and the guy had the video clip. There's that video clip of, why don't you call David names? And he's like, oh, I don't want to attack David like that.
Yeah, I saw a video
because we're good friends.
That he is always firm to Muslims, but friendly to Islamophobes like David Wood.
Yeah, he wants to be best buddies with us. Yeah, that's because
the funny thing is that David's totally right here. In Islam, Adam was an image made by Allah's hands. Literally, Allah making an idol of himself. That's true. Powerful. Also, this is Allah committing shirk as Adam's first idol and made as a viceroy invested with Allah's authority, therefore a partner to Allah. Powerful. Style and Rail Woodworking. You guys should have Big John Steele on sometime. He's doing great work debunking Islam and could use the viewer boost. We'll check it out. I actually just subscribed to his channel.
Someone recognized. I don't know if that was the same person who recommended him last night, but yeah, I went over and because I had no idea who that was. I pointed out that I was just familiar with Big John Studd, the wrestler, but now there's Big John Steele.
You mean the wrestler? No. You said wrestler. Flippy, disgusting to see Pakistan is celebrating the plane crash in India. Pakistan is full of shameless people, offended by everything, ashamed of nothing. Powerful. Chad Winger, the ultimate Dawa destroyer. Daniel Hakikachu is going to debate a Muslim feminist on modern day debate. After the debate, would you be willing to do a debate review live stream? I'm not really particularly interested, honestly, but she's not a Muslim feminist. She is actually an ex-Muslim. I'm seeing the debate here right now as we speak. Let me see.
You give up some.
Oh, it's already on?
Yeah. It's happening here as we speak. Wait a minute. Where's that? Oh, it's right here.
Some of it for the benefit of a stable family, for the benefit of a loving, devoted husband, for the benefit of children who will be there.
This is an interesting debate concept. So you have, she's actually not a, she calls herself female prophet.
Why is everyone steal? Did you steal that from anyone who came before you, or were you the one who started all that? You have to be the such and such prophet.
I know her. I also had her on my channel long time ago when I was doing stuff with lots of ex-Muslims. She's an ex-Muslim. But this is an interesting concept. You have one ex-Muslim feminist versus one gay Muslim debating.
Hey, don't be making fun of Daniel.
What do you mean?
We're friends, and we have an agreement that he will not attack me, even when I'm making fun of his prophet for the night of Al-Zut and so on.
I didn't attack him, man. What's wrong with you?
No, I'm just saying it. He has agreed that he will only be mean towards his fellow Muslims, and not
I don't
to me.
have a problem with him being gay. I'm just pointing it out. It is an interesting debate concept. So
this religion wouldn't even exist today. So it was a woman that was there, that had money, and she had power.
And their youth.
Was she pointing out that this only got off the ground because Khadijah was loaded?
That's actually a funny point.
That's actually funny.
Better than women in that regard. She says that my view is that women can't do anything right. That's a straw man.
Look at James's poll. Do women need a male authority? Yes, no, I'm not sure. I don't care. I'm a self-hating soy boy. Yeah. Okay. Yes, no. Okay, nice, interesting. All right, man. I don't really care too much about the debates. I'm not sure if there would be any point to reviewing it. It's between an ex-Muslim feminist and a gay Muslim, so I don't know. Karagat made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Karagat. Chad Winger, biggest threat to Islam is Chad Winger. This is true. This is very, very true. Karagat says, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be quick to believe Iran's claim that these people are really dead. They were awfully quick to claim it. That's true.
I don't know. I mean, it's an embarrassment to them that Israel is successful in taking out their entire leadership of their program and their military. So
yeah.
I don't think they'd want to toss that out there. It would be like Hezbollah making up the story about all their testicles getting blown off. Like, why would you want to say that?
Because it's fun. Zero
Hey,
Miedo.
hey, let's make up a story about the Jews blowing all our testicles off with their pagers. let's say as if it were true. It's actually just a joke.
That's a great song. Where can I download it? You can't download it yet. I haven't made it public yet. I only have one song public so far, and that is my song, the Islamic Dilemma song, also known as Who Told You to Judge by It. It's a fantastic song. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. You can find it on my channel, Apostate Music, over here. Apostate Music. You can find it right over here.
Here's the thing, AP. You don't have to.
I also have it on Spotify now.
Yeah, you can release Zabiba on Spotify and then have the video out later.
I could do that, but I'm going to wait a little bit because this is very fresh now, right out of the oven. I'm going to release the Zabiba song in a little while after this. This is taking off right now. It's going to be on top of the charts soon. So, yeah. Ash Mize, I'll trust the world again when this wins a Grammy. It should. CEO, salami has just returned, has just been turned into salami. Yeah. Peace be upon me, says, God bless Israel, my inheritance. Powerful. Isaiah 19:23. Powerful, powerful. Robera bounced to Zabiba like Al-Zut bounced to Mos Acid. Yosef, clip it. You are not the savior. Oh yeah, that was a good speech.
That is good to play for any of these. I will save all the children from genocide.
So this live stream really got derailed because of the whole Israel-Iran thing. So we couldn't really watch much of what's going on here. But maybe I want to watch a few seconds and then continue and then end it right here. Look at this. You always have these people here.
Israel is starting this war, not Iran. Keep coping.
I'm not sure why some people, some random on X, but this is just one example. Like this is the kind of people that we deal with nowadays, who are probably just trolls. I don't know, maybe Russian trolls or something. I don't really know.
Yeah, is it amazing? All Iran has tried to do is like constantly terrorize them and constantly proclaim how they're going to exterminate them and wipe them off the map, and then they're talking about building a nuclear bomb and how they're going to wipe out Israel, and then Israel made sure they can't do it. Oh my goodness!
So here are two elements. Israel is starting this war, not Iran. Now, first off, ridiculously stupid point if you understand anything at all about the conflict that's ongoing. Secondly, keep coping. Like this is, and it just shows the intellectual depth of this idiot that we're dealing with. What in the hell does keep coping even mean here in this context? Nothing. The only people coping right now are those people who are cheering on Iran or Islamic regime of Iran as they're getting blown to bits. What does keep coping even mean? This is just the low intelligence language of people who take all of their information from online memes, pretty much. Very, very funny stuff. Shembo Sly says, do you think Muhammad got a reverse Zabiba on his buttocks after receiving tantric worship from the Al-Zut? Probably did. Arctic based, we are the world. We are the world. We are the children.
How do you even remember that song? It's before you're born, man.
Yes, man. Would you rather be forced to eat the same thing for every meal for the rest of your life, or eat what you want, but you have to eat a poop sandwich once a month? Poop sandwich, of course. What do you think?
Yeah, I probably would, but I mean, I'd be cool with ramen noodles for the rest of my life. I could do it. I basically grew up on them.
Ethan Thorne, I know this is off topic, but my father died Tuesday and I have really been struggling. So please pray for me and my family. I pray that you find relief and that your father finds relief. And yeah, David. David doesn't have anything to say. Ethan, stay strong. Ash Mayes, my kids love the Islamic Dilemma song. I do too, and my kids do too. Jack Ray, Iran is getting penetrated like Muhammad al-Zut. Anyway,
Israel just al-Zuted Iran.
Yeah.
So I'd watched all these things going on. I'd seen a lot of it. So then when I saw them outside the town, when I saw them doing these protests, I wrote leaflets and I called it Ban the Loot and Taliban. And I went to all the lads that went to football and said, we've got to do something about these terrorists. They're in our town centre every Saturday. And the more I'd looked into them, the more then I started looking at Islam and understanding why these people think the way they do, what's their ideology. And I'll be honest, it terrified me. It terrified me that there was such a large group operating day in, day out that weren't being challenged. So I wrote these leaflets, and in the leaflets I said whites and blacks are being religiously and racially targeted. And I say this because we have, if you're black or you're white, and there were drug dealers or criminals within communities, which are in every community, the police would crush them. But the Islamic community, they're driving around in Lamborghinis and Ferraris. We know which shops they're using to front heroin. And I said in this leaflet that they're using heroin as a weapon against our communities, and they're getting our young girls hooked on heroin, and then they're prostituting them in paedophile gangs. And this was in 2000, so no one knew about this. And this leaflet went on the front page of my newspaper, local newspaper. And in it, I said that we'd have a problem with your average Muslim, but there's a problem what's going on here, and someone needs to tackle it. Now, the response I got from that, I faced full backlash from every single Pakistani Muslim gang, because our town is all 50% Pakistani. They wanted to target me. They wanted to attack me. My mum's house got smashed up. And in that leaflet, I named a gang. They're called the Gambino Gang in Luton. Very original for Pakistanis, call themselves the Gambino Gang. But they deal with all the prostitution, the drugs. And that was in 2000. Now, fast forward to 2007, our national newspapers started running articles about how the Gambino Gang are linked with the jihadist groups and how they're funding all the terrorism.
Well, how did they know all this?
Yo, that was interesting. So Tommy, he's talking about even so 2000, once he noticed that there was a problem, this is before social media, it's before the English Defense League. He noticed that there's a problem, so he just starts printing up leaflets, and him and his buddies are distributing the leaflets about what's going on with these Pakistani gangs that are using, getting girls addicted to heroin and stuff like that. And as you know, if you don't know anyone addicted to heroin, you don't know what a problem that you're messed up for life. You're messed up for life. You can get clean, but you are still like my brother, who got out of prison towards the end of last year. He has to take a drug for the rest, apparently for the rest of his life, that is just to help him suppress the urge to go back to heroin. Like he has to take medication for the rest of his life just to suppress that urge. That's how strong it. And he's been clean for years because he was in prison. So he's been clean for years. And will for the rest of his life have to deal with the urge to go back to that drug and so on. So you're getting young girls hooked on this stuff just so you can make them more compliant and controllable and so on. And that's, keep in mind, the drug addiction is separate from everything you're doing to them sexually. And you're basically really, really screwing up people's lives. And what does Tommy do? He starts printing up leaflets about this in 2000. Turns out later on, 2007, everyone realizes, oh, this gang here, the Gambinos, they're actually a problem. They're tied to terrorists there. Tommy's always ahead of whatever the government realizes.
But I've done this in 2000 and I faced a massive onslaught for it. I faced violence, I faced attacks, but growing up at that time, as our football group, there was quite a few of English lads as well. And it was a bit of a battle over us not wanting to back down to the takeover of the town. Fast forward then we get to 2009, and the soldiers are doing a homecoming parade. But by the time we get to 2009, this happened in 2004. Over those 5 years, I've gone on to set up a plumbing business. I had a solarium shop. I had 7 properties. So I'm doing well, and my passion is making money.
I just read a stupid comment that I don't want to put on the screen. But it was a funny one, Steve Tablet.
So my passion is making money. And like most people, I could have turned a blind eye to what was happening. 2009, our soldiers are given the freedom to walk through the town on a homecoming parade. This same group, Al Mujahideen, I turned up on a Tuesday morning in the town centre. And when I turned up, I see so many police. And it was for the parade. I see police everywhere. But what's going on? And I see about 30 or 40 women all with the niqab together, which is quite a sight anyway. And then as I looked, I started spotting the jihadists, Saif al-Islam, Roger Ibrahim, all their main extremists. And I realized they're going to attack the troops. That's what's going to happen here. But then I watched as the police took these jihadists, they are ISIS, and through my town hall. So my town hall is in the town centre. They opened up the doors. They took all the jihadists through the town hall. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And then I just heard all the commotion. And as the soldiers had marched down the back of the road, they brought all the jihadists out next to them. And then the jihadists were screaming at them, baby killers, butchers of Basra. They spat in some of the soldiers' mums' faces. And that was the catalyst that then gave birth to the organisation we formed. I watched it that day.
It just makes me angry, man. This just makes me angry.
Dude, this goes on for another like the first hour and a half is just him talking about how screwed up this whole situation is and how the government and journalists are all doing everything they can to silence anyone who criticizes it.
This just makes me angry. This makes me angry. Christian Camflin said, y'all got to get him on your show. I think I'm going to go do something with Maya Tusi next month or so. If I can arrange it at the same time, around the same time, considering that they're both good friends, I could also probably arrange something with Tommy for the channel. I don't know. I'll see. But Meyer had a plan for ages now to meet up and do something with me, and maybe I could arrange that. We'll see. What makes me angry is what he just described. You have Islamists in the UK, Islamists in Britain, in the heart of Britain, lining up, being protected by the police, spitting in the faces of troops and their mothers, calling them baby killers, and so on.
And these are guys who will openly admit they want to subjugate the world and slaughter us all in the name of Allah, and rape the little girls and everything else. And
how dare you? How dare you? How dare you fight against us when all we want to do is subjugate you and take your daughters as our sex slaves?
It just makes me think, send them all back.
Did you not read the Wikipedia description of remigration?
Send Wikipedia away too. Send Wikipedia back and send them back too.
And after this, I sat down with my cousin at the time and some of the other lads and said, they can't get away with this. Like, what's happening in our town?
Well, they are getting away with it.
It cannot be. And Luton, every time Luton, just Google Luton and terrorism, yeah? 5 men found guilty after abusive chants. That's them. But you see Beaky, the one on the left, he went to my school. This is the
one with the beard.
Yeah, he went to my school. See, the difference is many people.
Who is the guy on the left? Who's the one in the middle? Who's the one on the right?
They're
Oh, they look like solid Englishmen here. Look at this.
The Muslim men who called parading troops baby killers and murderers are convicted of threatening behavior.
Interesting.
What? They're all gay. They're wearing dresses.
Proper Englishmen here. Look at these proper Englishmen, innit?
So there's a group in. They're part of this extremist jihadist group. All of them now have gone for terrorism. 4 of them are dead. They went to fight for ISIS. But at the time, you have to understand that they were not a prescribed group. They ended up becoming a prescribed terrorist organization, but only because we took them on. They were allowed. You know the scenes of Abu Hamza with the hook in Finsbury Park, where hundreds of Muslims in the streets, and he's calling for war and calling for jihad. No one was stopping him.
Muhammad Hijab?
No, not Muhammad Hijab.
It's before
Abu
Hijab.
Hamza with the hook. He's a terrorist with a hook. But back when this was going on, so this is going on
Did you just call Muhammad Hijab a terrorist or something? That's funny.
in Luton. I watched that day, and then so we've got to do something. And if you Google Luton, every time my town, I'm quite tribal. I think many Brits are. I'm quite tribal about my town, about my school, about my football club. And every time you heard Luton town mentioned, it was to do with terrorists. And this incident, but this went worldwide. And every time our town, and I love our town, I love my town. It's part of who I am. And if
I wonder if the hook guy, if his nickname among his fellow Muslims is Hooker or something. What's his name again? Hamza with the hooks. Hamza the Hooker. What are you laughing about, man? What's wrong with you? Yeah, I don't even. Abu Hamza. Okay, yeah, now I remember. Hook-handed radical Muslim Abu Hamza. This dude. Look at this. Look at this proper Englishman right here, innit? Proper Englishman right here, innit? Look at this man here. Look at Mr. Hamza here. Look at Mr. Hamza.
How does he clap?
What a beautiful person, man. What a beautiful fellow.
He only claps the way Muhammad was clapping on the night of Al-Sut.
What a proper lad. Look at this English lad here. Laddie.
Look. He tried rubbing his eye.
Oh, yeah.
What? What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Shake Hook. All right, man. I think I've had enough. All right. Otherwise, I'm gonna go into a really dark place tonight. Anything else, David? What are we doing tomorrow? Do you want to continue watching this? We should just continue watching that interview for the.
Yeah, I might pick a particular section because you kind of can't go through the entire section of Tommy recounting his basic history over the past 25 years because it's like an hour and a half of the interview. But he does talk about other stuff, Andrew Tate and Sneeko and stuff like that. Maybe we'll check out some of the other stuff. Because it is super base, and we want everyone need to watch that and share it. It is really is a really good interview.
Is really?
And everyone needs to have all of that in mind before Tommy goes on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan interrupts him every 2 seconds. You'll want to know why Piers Morgan won't
hang on.
You'll need to know why he won't let him speak.
Oh, all right. Hang on, man. Hang on. But hang on, I'll let you speak. Hang on. All right, hang on. Just makes you want to grab a tool of destruction. Holy Joe said AP sounding a bit like old Trump jizya. Powerful. Anyway, anything else, David?
Nope.
Anything you want to talk about tomorrow?
I already told you. We might continue.
Hang on, Matt. Hang on, David. All right, hang on. All right. I'm gonna just call it a night here. This live stream really got derailed because of Israel.
Yeah, Israel, you really derailed our reaction to Tommy's interview with PBD. Not nearly as much as you interrupted the nuclear plans of Iran, but still an interruption.
Well, I must say that Israel could have. I mean, the Israeli government and military could have found a better time to carry out this strike, and they could have
done it
waited
right after
for-
our live stream.
Yeah, they could have waited for me to finish this live stream and then done it. You know, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. And as always, I put the link to my music into the pinned comment here. You can find it right there. Go and listen to the music, because soon it will be too late, because it will be #1 in charts everywhere in the entire world, especially in Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia. We'll be back tomorrow on David Wood's channel. Until then, as always, have a good day. And
Are you sick in the mind? Are you that mentally enslaved and intellectually subservient and intellectually molested and ideologically molested?
And intellectually al-zooted?
Sorry, that was the wrong clip. As always,
stay away from Islam.
And al-zoot.